Bracket home run number 500 as the Cubs and Reds hook up in game one of a three-game weekend series. Sammy trying to become only the 18th man in baseball history to hit 500 home runs and join only one other Cub, Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks, who reflects on his milestone home run achievement.
It was very special. I didn't think so much about the rest of the players who had done it. My only thought was that the Cub fans, for this one particular game, and one particular moment in time, will make them very happy. It will have a memory that they'll always have in their lives. And when it happened on May 12, 1970, naturally I was overjoyed by it, my family, my friends, my neighbors. So it goes way out to people, and it reached a lot of people, touched a lot of people's lives. And I know the same thing is going to happen when Sammy hit his number 500, although it's going to be more people, you know, have a chance to enjoy that great moment with him, including all of his friends in Dominican, the 9-10 million people who live in Dominican. I know the whole island. So his going to have a greater impact on people who follow the Cubs, probably all over the world. It is monumental. It's deeper than just hitting the 500 and being a member of the 500 home run club. It's really spreading joy and happiness to people that you don't even know, probably all over the world.
We'll reflect on that momentarily. Let's first enjoy the rest of our national anthem. Well, perhaps tonight indeed will be the night for the Cubs to go to 3-1. The Reds are winless in their new ballpark, and the night, of course, we're all speaking of is potentially home run number 500 for Sammy Sosa. Moments ago, you heard Jack Brickhouse's call, May 12th, 1970, as Ernie Banks took the sheriff, Pat Jarvis of the Atlanta Braves, deep. If you're going to hit a home run on the road, Stoney, it appears this is a wonderful place to attempt to do it.
Nobody in the Cubs starting lineup has a home run lifetime off Danny Graves. And Chip, I'm going to go out on the line and say in the first 3 innings, that statistic is going to go by the boards. In batting practice, we saw the ball fly out in left field. There are the dimensions of this ballpark. Occasionally, hitting the ball to right, the wind is going to knock it down. But if you hit it to left or left center, you're going to get it out of here easily. And Sammy is an equal opportunity home run hitter. He'll use the entire ballpark and will hit the ball just as easily to straightaway center. I think if Graves hangs one of those sliders, Sammy's going to hit his 500th tonight.
Well, they've been hanging and banging. Speaking of the opposition against this Red pitching staff, the Pirates came in here, swept the first 3 games, outscored the Reds 24-10, and hit 10 home runs. So it is a launching pad, and they think when it gets real hot, it's going to be even more so. As we look at Dusty Baker's Cubs Pepsi lineup tonight, Mark Rudzelanek leads off at second. Alex Gonzalez hits second at short. Sammy Sosa, Moises Alou, and Hee-Seop Choi in the middle of the order. Corey Patterson, the RBI leader with 7, is in center field. Mark Bellhorn at third base. Damian Miller back behind the plate. And former Red Sean Estes gets his first Cubs start tonight.
And that's how they'll line up defensively behind Danny Graves. Larson, Larkin, Boone, and Casey in the infield. In the outfield, young and talented Dunn, Griffey, and Kearns. Jason LaRue behind the plate. Danny Graves on the hill trying to make the conversion from a closer to a starter, a lot like Byung Hung Kim,
who pitched today for Arizona.
And those records are deceiving, because Danny Graves started out and he got clobbered. He had a bad knee. He took a little over a week off and came back with an ERA under 2 for the rest of spring training.
He said something in the papers today that I'm not sure if it's legal or not, but he went to a manicurist and he had fake fingernails put on his index and middle finger because he has a real bad blister problem. So I don't know if the Cubs are going to raise issue with that. And he will work off the stretch all night long. He got clobbered in spring training trying to work on his windup. He feels much more comfortable working out of the stretch, and he'll do it regardless of the situation on the base paths.
Well, as a closer with an excess of 27 saves in 4 straight years, he feels real good this way.
Back to the mound. Graves knocks it down, and that's out number 1. Rudzelanic hit it sharply, but is retired before a big crowd here in Cincinnati. We'll give you several panoramic views of this place. They have done a wonderful job. A lot of architectural purists have been very vocal in some of their criticisms, but folks, this is a beautiful, beautiful ballpark.
Alex Gonzalez has always hit Graves pretty well, and he's off to a red-hot start this year. Of course, he got off to a red-hot start last year.
This is a real good night to hit. 73 delightful degrees.
Take advantage of it now, because number 1, later on it's supposed to rain, and number 2, tomorrow it starts to get a little colder.
That'll get us ready for the home opener in Chicago. A high fly ball belted left center field. Junior on the run, can't get that. It's up against the fence. Alex on his way to second with a 1-out stand-up double. Oh, he's hitting unbelievably well. A 4-game hit streak to start the year for the Cubs shortstop.
And he's got a lot of confidence against Danny Graves. And when you know you can hit somebody, it certainly helps when you get a fastball middle in, which is exactly his wheelhouse. He turns on this ball, hits it into the gap. No chance for Junior to make this play. And the Cubs have been putting a lot of pressure on the opposition in the early innings. And that's one of the keys to having a very successful year. Score early and put the pressure on the opposing pitcher, and they've been doing that.
7 first-inning runs for the Cubs in the first 3 games of the year. Here's Sosa, and Graves fires a strike. Graves has had pretty good luck with Sosa. Sammy, 6 hits and 24 tries against him.
Talking with the manager, Bob Boone, he tells me that Graves has got a much better changeup these days.
LaRue knocks that down to even up the count.
Jason LaRue has made tremendous improvement behind the plate. This is a guy that had some problems defensively. And Sammy Sosa has a rooting interest in number 500. She's followed the team from New York to Cincinnati.
There she is. 1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch. He had a home run cut, but he's behind in the count.
Sammy pulled off that slider somewhat. And Graves will probably try that one again. He would like to keep it down a little lower, however. There's a good look at Danny Graves, who started his career with the Cleveland Indians and found a home here in Cincinnati.
Alex at second. Top of the first. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Sammy Sosa. Didn't miss by much. That one a little too wide, Brian Runge says. 2-2.
Take another look at it. LaRue wants it away. Graves misses the outside corner. And a pretty good call by Runge.
You saw LaRue try to snatch that ball back over the outside corner. The 2-2 now. And Sosa is hit. So they'll be at first and second. Now let's see. Did Runge say it hit him? Yeah, it did. Sammy wanted to stand in the box and take a hack.
I don't blame Sammy. He knows that this is his park to hit. And that one just barely got a piece of it as Runge went out and had a word with Graves. And Sammy figures that Graves is not overpowering with the wind tunnel to left field. He just as soon take another pitch than go to first base. But take a look at Sosa's on base percentage. He's been phenomenally patient, knowing that he's sitting on 499.
Here's Alou. Talk about phenomenal. The job he's done driving in men. 6 RBIs for Alou already. And 2 more Cubs aboard for him. In fact, the whole top of the order has been remarkably good. Rudzelanic, Gonzalez. They've scored 8 runs combined. Sosa's knocked in 4. Alou's knocked in 6. Patterson's knocked in 7. One-0 pitch. Little tapper towards short. Third hop. The flip to second one. The relay to first. Not in time. They're at the corners. Alou just quick enough to beat the double play tandem of Barry Larkin and Aaron Boone, who now plays second base.
Well, Aaron Boone has shifted across the diamond from third, and he's making a smooth adjustment. This was a pretty good turn by Boone, but fortunately the ball was slowly hit. We'll watch it again. Good catch and throw by Boone, but he can't get it there in time. And Ed Montague, the magician in the offseason, conjures up a safe call.
That gives Hee-Seop Choi a chance to put the Cubs in front. First and third, 2 outs now for Choi, and he skips the rope.
Now this isn't a particularly good defensive team, and the Cubs saw how much damage they did to the New York Mets by putting the ball in play, and the Reds have also had some problems.
Larkin shifted at short, playing Choi to pull, and they keep pounding him inside with that fastball.
Well, you can tell what the advanced scouts have said. Don't let this guy get his arms extended. Don't throw the ball away because he's got good power to left center field. Now you should see the ball away, and Hee-Seop can hit it real hard that way.
2-0. That one tied him up a bit. He fouled it away. 2 balls and a strike. Hee-Seop 1 for 4 on the young season. Garros has started twice. Choi starting his second game for the Cubs tonight. Alex with a 1-out double stands at third with 2 men out. High fly ball down the left field line, but that'll slice into the seats. We were standing on the field before the game trying to get a feel for how the winds operate. When you stand behind home plate, the wind is blowing straight in. But when you look at the flags, that tells you the true direction where the wind pushes the ball out. And it is toward left center and the bullpens.
It's going to be tough for the Reds outfielders to get a good handle on which way the wind is going to take the ball.
Too high, I suppose. Full count. Alou will be running here with 2 outs. Casey will play behind him at first. Choi, as we've said, very good knowledge of the strike zone for a young player.
He's been surprisingly selective.
3-2. Runner goes, and that's ball 4. Bases are loaded with 2 outs. So Hee-Seop Choi already his 3rd walk.
Well, Chip, even though it's a base on balls, Choi should take something from that at bat. Graves has tipped his hand. All he did was throw the ball inside. As the game moves along, if Graves stays in the game and Hee-Seop comes up in a tough situation, he knows the way Graves believes he can get him out. And that is pounding him in. That's when you open up and take it down the line.
4 of those 6 hits for Corey Patterson have come with men in scoring position. He's a perfect 4 for 4. And he's ahead in the count with the bases loaded here and 2 outs.
Graves has gotten a lot of pitches up, and Corey Patterson, for a left-hand hitter, and most of them like the ball down, but Corey likes the ball up a little higher.
At the knees. Corey didn't think so. Mark Bellhorn hopes to swing the bat here in this first inning. That'll mean the Cubs have scored at least once. Popped up left side. Back goes Brendan Larson. In comes Dunn on the foul line in foul ground. Patterson pops out. The Cubs strand 3, and the Reds come up for the first time against Sean Estes. Reds are winless, and the reason is the Pittsburgh Pirates are off to a surprising 4-0 start. They came in here and swept the season opening series, and Bob Boone's ball club looks to win for the first time tonight. They line up with Barry Larkin, Aaron Boone, and Ken Griffey Jr. atop the order. Austin Kern, Sean Casey, and Brendan Larson, Adam Dunn, Jason LaRue, and Danny Graves against their former teammate Sean Estes.
Here's the Cubs Pepsi defense. It's a Lou, Patterson, and Sosa left to right. In the infield, Bellhorn, Gonzalez, Grzelcyk, and Choi at first. Damian Miller behind the plate, Sean Estes on the hill. Combined between the Mets and Cincinnati, had a tough year last year, but a very good spring training where he tightened up his curveball, got it over the plate, and looking for a much better season this year. But this is a very good offensive Reds team.
Barry Larkin just 2 for 10 to start the season. Barry very vocal in the newspapers. The Reds have a young kid named Felipe Lopez who they're trying to work into their infield rotation, and they're planning on giving Larkin some time off. He wants to play every day, though.
He's 39 years old. He's a middle infielder. You just don't see people at 39 playing every day. Now you can understand after hitting 300 in spring training where he would want to get as many at bats as he could early. And fortunately, Lopez can also play third and second, so Boone's going to work him in where he can.
Larkin spent his entire career with the Reds. He's 56 games now, joining some very select company. There are only 6 guys with 2,000 games played at shortstop, and they've done that with one team. The line drive is his 3rd hit of the year. Cal Ripken, Luke Appling, Davey Concepcion, Alan Trammell, and Pee Wee Reese. Here's Boone.
Aaron Boone has hit pretty well against Sean Estes.
Talking with Aaron before the ball game about his move from third base to second base. He said he got a little help from his brother Brett. Came down to spring training in Florida a week or so early to help him with a few pointers. Brett, of course, all-star second baseman with the Seattle Mariners. And that's brotherly love, because Seattle trains in Arizona.
Brett Boone has been a great second baseman for a long time.
Aaron Boone off to a slow start with the bat. Ground ball to Choi. He'll knock it down. He'll think about second, and he'll win the race to the bag at first. Boone nearly legged that out. He's up. Very quick of foot. Got his man at first. Here's Junior.
Pretty good composure for Choi. He bobbles this ball, and then he sees he has no angle on the throw, and that's important. You make that throw, you're probably going to hit Larkin right in the back. And Choi, thinking better of it, knowing you have to stay out of the big inning, takes a couple of steps, beats Boone to the bag.
Here's Griffey, a homer on the year for the Reds. They are looking for this guy to have a breakout season. He's missed 107 games in the last 2 years because of injury. And Larkin was thinking about taking third on that pitch.
Sean Estes wants to take a couple of looks at Barry Larkin, because despite the fact that Larkin is knocking at the door of 40 years old, he can still run. Stole 13 bases last year, and it wasn't a banner year offensively for him. He hit just .245.
1 ball, no strikes. And if you're going to beat Cincinnati, Stoney, it's nice to have a guy like Estes with all the left-hand thunder on this Red lineup card.
Well, one of the guys that's not intimidated by left-handers is Junior, although he did get off to a real slow start the last couple of years.
He's ahead 2-0, and there's a line drive deep toward right. Look at that ball just die. Sammy makes the play, and a good strong peg back to the middle of the infield. That's what we were talking about. Everyone thought baseball with a 325-foot fair pole in right, this would be home run heaven for Dunn, for Casey, and Griffey. Doesn't go out that way. It goes out to left center.
Griffey hit this ball hard, and I think he's surprised that it doesn't even go to the warning track. You see him standing at home plate. And Sammy has to come in a step to make it, gets himself in good position to throw the ball back in. That's why you want to make sure that Larkin stayed at second in that situation, because otherwise it's a run.
So now you've got a man at second, you've got 2 outs, and here's Kearns, a kid they think is going to be a superstar.
He did everything right last year and does everything right defensively.
Pop back toward us and into the upper deck. Strike 1, the count to Kearns.
And talking with Jim Bowden, the general manager, he thinks that Kearns will eventually be a 30 home run man. He believes he'll hit in excess of 300. And he said this young man really understands both how to play the game and understands defensively how to position hitters.
Estes tried to tie him up. One thing about Sean that's opened up some eyes, he's picked up a few miles per hour on that fastball this spring.
Well, he also has first base open and a left-hand hitter in the on-deck circle. And with the wind tunnel left center, you want to be very careful with Kearns.
Turned that one over and dropped it in for strike 2 call.
That'll be the pitch that will make or break his year. Gone are the days when Sean Estes is going to overpower you consistently. So he's got to throw the slow curve and the straight change over the plate.
The 1-2. Evens up the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. On Wednesday, Kearns hit the first official home run by a Red in this ballpark.
The only hole in his game plan is that he doesn't have great speed. Good enough speed if you hit 300 and hit 30 home runs.
You can walk around the bases.
Indeed.
They have brought up some young sluggers through this Red farm system. Still looking for arms, though. The 2-2. And Miller knocks that down. Full count. First base again open with Casey waiting next.
Kearns last year showed that he has some patience. He will take a walk. But I'm thinking right here, throw something off speed out of the strike zone. If he expands the strike zone, that's fine. If not, you put him at first base, take your chances with Casey.
2 outs in the Reds' first scoreless game. The 3-2 from Sean. Breaking ball frozen. What a pitch. Larkin stranded in scoring position. The Reds' offensive woes continue into our first inning in Cincinnati. Both teams threatened. Both pitchers kept it scoreless into our second inning. And in this second for the Cubs, Mark Bellhorn, Damian Miller, and Sean Estes. And folks, if you want to take a summer road trip, head on down to Cincinnati. This is a marked improvement over old Riverfront Stadium, last known as Synergy Field, of course. Beautiful, beautiful facility. Great sight lines right along the river. 1-0 to Bellhorn. Mark's bat has been a little quiet to start the season.
This is where he wanted to get Graves, where he falls behind, and then you just look for a fastball.
And now he's way ahead. 3 balls, no strikes. The man's hitting 100 on the season. You green light him here?
I would. So far, Graves is throwing every fastball very hittable up in the zone.
That one sunk in there for a strike. 3-1 your count. Graves, born in Saigon, Vietnam, signed through the year 2005. Was just magnificent out of the bullpen. 121 saves for Cincinnati in the last 4 years. High fly ball lazily hit into straightaway center. Griffey in 3 steps.
Denny Graves came over from the Cleveland Indians along with Damian Jackson, Scott Winchester, and Jim Crowell for John Smiley and Jeff Branson. The only problem for the Indians in that deal is very quickly John Smiley hurt his arm And there's a lot of folks that felt that that arm might have been a little shaky when he was dealt over there. Turned out to be a great trade for Cincinnati.
Here's Damian Miller looking for his first Cub hit, and he spanks that one past Wendell Kim and out of play for strike one. Can't complain a bit about the Cubs catching tandem Miller and Bacco defensively and their game calling. Cubs are hoping their bats will start to come to life. That one chopped toward third, smothered by Larkin. He's got a good arm.
And if they do have one concern with Larkin, it's just what you saw there. He's got a good enough arm. They're concerned about his hands, but he makes a pretty good play. This is a short hop. It's not an easy play. He stays in front of it, which is the key, and then gets it across easily.
Here's Estes. Throws left, bats right. Keeps that pitching arm exposed. And Graves working away from him. Jumps ahead. Your yacht is docking as we speak. One of the cool features of the park, the Ohio River.
It's a beautiful setting when you look out over the wall in right center field, or you take a look at the smokestacks that are in right center. And that's Kentucky across the river.
So if you hit a home run here and it goes over the right field grandstand, bounces on the concourse and splashes into the river, you actually hit a home run in 2 states.
I'm thinking if you can take one over the back stands with the way the wind blows in from right field, you deserve 2 states.
Maybe only Godzilla can do it. He'll be coming here with the Yankees later. Hideki Matsui. 1-2 pitch is chopped out of play. It's got to be well over 600 feet to the Kentucky border. He might be able to do it.
He's seen a steady diet of pitches out of the strike zone.
Estes to third again. Larkin, nice play to his left. And the Cubs are retired in order in the second scoreless game at the Great American Ballpark. For Cubs games throughout the season, and Wrigley Field's a great place to spend your summer. For individual tickets, call 1-800-CUBS. Visit the Wrigley Field box office, any Chicagoland, Sears or Sears Hardware, or online at Cubs.com for more details. Home dates in April. The Expos, the red hot and first place Pittsburgh Pirates, who are 4-0. Reds will be in for a 4-game series, April 14th through the 17th. Then after a modest 3-game trip to Pittsburgh, the San Diego Padres come in. Great promotions, hopefully great weather, and even more importantly, more great Cub baseball to see in the early part of the season. And as we know, partner, tough to win in Chicago if you start the season under 500.
They've been playing good solid baseball. They've been executing very well. They'd like a little bit better base running, but they're putting a lot of men on base.
Sean Casey to work for the Reds. He too looking for a resurgent season, coming off shoulder surgery.
Yeah, he's been a mystery man, though. Even without the shoulder surgery, they felt that he would have more power. You can see against the Cubs, he's always done very well, and they would like to see him hit the ball out of the ballpark some more. But he's always been a line drive hitter, was limited to just 6 home runs last year.
High chopper to the right side. Heesop flips to Estes. Good play at both ends. In this day and age in sports, it's hard to believe that there really is anything such as an untouchable type player. Would Casey qualify, in your opinion, for the Reds?
No, I don't believe he's untouchable at all. In fact, for the right deal, I think that Jim Bowden would make the deal. But the problem is, coming off surgery, everybody wanted to see if he was healthy again. And a first basemanship without a whole lot of power, if he doesn't have speed and is not known as a great glove, doesn't have the kind of value that you would want to see. That's why he's still here. And in fact, he's a terrific guy.
Brandon Larkin, young slugging infielder, He too off to a slow start, hitting just 100. Came up last year in limited duty. Hit 275 with the Reds after a 340 season at AAA. Mile high fly ball, shallow center. In comes Corey, and quickly 2 are out.
Very important before the game when you move into a new park. And the Cubs just got their first look at this one. You take a lot of fly balls and you try to get them the best angle you can to approximate what it's going to be like in the game. And you also take fly balls off the bat in batting practice, because you have really no idea how the wind currents are going to take line drives and fly balls.
Here's Adam Dunn, and they're real worried about him. Really slumped in the second half of last season, off to a poor start this year, and he is really fighting it against left-handed pitching.
Well, he hit 26 home runs last year, but after the All-Star break, the National League adjusted to him. There's a lot of people that felt that he might have a chance to lead off on a team that doesn't have a legitimate leadoff hitter. But right now he's just not making enough contact.
1 ball, 1 strike to Dunn, and there's a drive, belted right center field. Wind or no wind, that one off the batter's eye. Wow, what a rocket from Dunn.
That's about as long a shot as you're going to see in this ballpark in some time. Adam Dunn hits his first home run of the year, drives in his first run. Now you know why he hit 26 home runs last year, but just 9 after the All-Star break. It's a fastball, it's down, it's out over the plate, and Adam Dunn absolutely crushes it. So after hitting 190 after the break last year, he breaks out the big stick.
Now a fly ball from Jason LaRue into left. Alou gallops over, and that'll retire the side. Adam Dunn puts a charge into a baseball and this crowd and puts the Reds up a run. Well, there were some who were saying that if Adam Dunn didn't pick it up, he might be headed to AAA. Well, he almost hit a ball to Louisville a second ago to give the Reds a lead.
Well, he must have been taking it seriously, because you're just not going to see him hit much farther than that. And Larry Rothschild saying, well, look, if you're going to give him up and make them legitimate.
And keep them solos.
He hit the tar out of that ball.
Here's Grudzielanek as we head to our 3rd inning. 1-0 Cincinnati, and Graves sends him to an E with a swinging strike. Mark tapped back to the mound his first time up. .875 on base percentage for the Cub leadoff man.
Probably going to go down a touch from there.
If it doesn't, you've got a story. That one driven in the air, shallow right center field. Over quickly is Kearns and Griffey. 2 pitches, 1 out here in our 3rd.
When I talked to General Manager Jim Bowden, I said, if you had not traded Elmer DeSenz, would you still be starting Danny Graves? He said, I thought Danny Graves could start last year. I asked him, why in the world would you trade a guy who figures to be your #1 starter? And he said, pure and simple. I had to cut $10 million from a payroll. DeSenz was 3. And he says, I got to about 6. I traded Walker at 2nd. Still looking to cut a few more bucks. So I said, how many of your decisions nowadays are economically motivated? And he said, for about the last 5 years in baseball, a lot of your decisions fall into the economic range.
Which is somewhat surprising. They've got a brand new ballpark. Their attendance, they're averaging about 31,000 fans a game. Now it's only 3 games. They have a very young, exciting offensive ball club. One would think that the revenue streams would be increasing for the Cincinnati ownership.
Well, I think next year they probably will expand that payroll. Right now, Chip, they're 17th. And it's a team that can't go up from there. So when you talk about additions late in the season, if they are in contention, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do that.
2 balls, 1 strike to Alex, and there's a high fly ball hit to left. Dunn has an easy play. Here's Sosa with the bases empty. It's hard to believe that to be in the middle of the pack payroll-wise still costs you $57 million. That's where the Reds find themselves here on the 4th day of the season. Here's Sammy's second shot. He was hit by a pitch in that first inning. Good cut, fouled back, strike one.
Sammy got a pitch to hit. And when you foul it straight back, it means you were right on it. And usually that tells the pitcher he has to make an adjustment.
The Sosa family watching from a box here in Cincinnati, hoping that tonight is the night. He will earn, in all likelihood, his ticket to Cooperstown. 17 men have hit 500 home runs or more in their career. The 1-1 pitch from Graves. Beautiful breaking ball.
Two guys on this Reds team, Griffey and Larkin, make up just under 40% of their entire payroll.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Sammy here in the second. That just missed. 2-2 to Sosa.
Runge's been consistent. He hasn't given Graves this pitch at all. It started to tail back over the corner. But Brian Runge said no.
2-2. Breaking ball stayed high. Graves living dangerously with that particular pitch.
If I'm Danny Graves, knowing that everything is knocked down in straightaway right field, I'd have to keep this ball away from Sammy. Let's see what Jason LaRue has in store.
They're going away. He hung it and Sosa missed it. Graves has his first strikeout and a 1-2-3 third and a 1-0 lead. A swing and a miss by Danny Graves, the Reds pitcher, leading off the home half of the third inning. Steve Stone, Chip Carey from Cincinnati, where the Reds enjoy a quick 1-0 lead on an Adam Dunn rocket shot home run. Tap to short.
I think Danny Graves was pretty lucky to get away with that breaking ball. LaRue wanted it away, and Graves hung it on the inner portion, and Sammy just swung through it. Look at it again. You see LaRue set up? Look at this pitch. It hangs over the inner portion. And occasionally you do get away with some mistakes.
One away in the Reds' third for Barry Larkin, who singled to left his first time up. They were flirting with the proposition in spring training of maybe playing Larkin some in the outfield for Cincinnati this year.
Yeah, that's a real good idea. Take a guy 39 years old who hasn't played the outfield and just shift him out there.
Oh, it's easy to play out there, right?
It's especially in this part.
Sure. Line drive right field. That's pretty deep. Sosa at the wall, leaps up, can't get it. Patterson backs up the play and Larkin a double. He didn't miss by much. So he's in scoring position for Aaron Boone. Larkin, a Cub killer, 2 for 2.
One of two things happened when Barry Larkin took the day off. Either it really aggravated him, or he doesn't want to see Lopez play any more shortstop. In either event, he's 2 for 2. Sammy makes a good effort, comes up a little short, and a good job by Corey Patterson. As Barry Larkin, who's always hit the Cubs pretty well, is doing a pretty good job tonight.
He's only hit better against the Brewers and the Marlins in his career. A .329 average against the Cub pitching staff. So here's Boone. He bounced out to Choi his first time up. Boone drove in 87 runs last season.
One of the reasons why Boone is showing bunt there is he sees Bellhorn way back at third. Now with 1 out, you certainly want to drive in the run, but he also wants Bellhorn to move in some to give him a little more room to hit the ball by him. Swing, belted.
to deep left field. Forget about that. I think the Reds are tired of losing on their home turf. It's 3-0.
Home run number 1, RBIs 1 and 2. And the Reds have come out firing tonight. This fastball down and on the inner half, and Aaron Boone, with 26 home runs last year, hits the first of what should be many this year.
Neither one of the home runs wind-blown tonight. Here's Griffey. Junior line to right. He thought he hit it hard enough to reach the seats. The Reds, who saw the Pittsburgh Pirates thump them with the long ball, most of the damage from Reggie Sanders, have come out swinging hot bats tonight.
Reggie Sanders has started this year like he takes it personally that he signed so late and only got $1 million. Hit a grand slam today. He's got 4 of them already. 4 home runs.
Good breaking ball. Junior took it for strike 2. Pirates spoiled the final opener at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia today, beating the Phillies 9-1. Pirates are 4-0 this season.
Miller wants it away, and this one got away from Sean Estes. Or maybe he's saying, I'm not sure if I like getting hit quite this hard.
2-2. High and tight.
Larry Rothschild looking out at Sean Estes and wanting him perhaps to change speeds a little bit more, because every ball that's been hit has been a fastball.
Base is clear. Full count to Griffey, and he fought it off.
And Peter Angelos, the owner of the Baltimore Orioles, said that he wouldn't mind paying the $79 million left on the contract of Junior Griffey. Jim Bowden said that Griffey will be in center field when we open the new ballpark.
Now, whether they close the new ballpark at the end of this year and have Junior in center remains another story. And he takes ball 4. I think he's going to have a big year. I was talking to him before the game. He's been using a personal trainer for years. He's been hurt the last couple of years. He uses the same gentleman who helps get Jason Giambi in shape with the New York Yankees. Difference is Giambi's been able to stay healthy. Griffey hasn't been able to. And so much has been expected of Griffey because he's come to his hometown team to play.
Well, there was a lot of pressure on him, Chip, especially when he was making a king's ransom and kept on saying that he took a discount because he was coming to his hometown. I think they would like him to perform a little bit better. And I think he feels that kind of pressure because this is a guy with a tremendous amount of pride and was one of the true superstars in this game.
So he's playing with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. And if he has a big year, look out.
This Red team is going to be a good offensive club, and the only question about them is can they pick it up and can they throw it? Because pitching is going to be a problem. They think they've got a pretty decent bullpen.
1 ball, no strikes. Austin Kearns in the box, and he couldn't stop himself. They better have a good bullpen.
A couple of other factors here also. As you see the appeal, and Ed Montague says he did swing. The other factors are that both Bob Boone and Jim Bowden are in the last years of their contracts, and so far they haven't made any attempt to extend either of them.
1 ball, 1 strike. They've got some young hitters. Just imagine if Cincinnati had been able to get Bartolo Colon with this offense, have him anchor their staff. Would have been quite a feat indeed, but as we mentioned, payroll restrictions made that impossible. And Estes is getting hit pretty hard here.
I think it's time for Larry Rothschild to come out, and here he comes.
Two men are on, one man is out. Sean Casey's coming up with the Reds leading by 3. 8 o'clock in the East. Let's pause for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN-TV, Chicago's WB.
Larry Rothschild trying to help out Sean Estes here. He's been touched up for 2 runs, 3 hits in this 3rd inning.
Well, I'm sure Larry will mention Shane Speeds a little bit more. And with 1 out, you've got an excellent man for 2 up in Sean Casey. Because one of the few things that he can't do is run. So if he hits a ground ball, there's a real good chance you're going to turn a pair.
Cubs really had their problems with the Reds last year. Cincinnati won 12 of the 17 meetings last season. Tonight, the first of a 3-game set. We'll see the Reds on our next homestand in Chicago. April 14th through the 17th, including the first night game, Monday the 14th.
Should be balmy.
No balls and a strike to the Red first baseman. It's 0-2.
Sean had a very good spring training, and one of the reasons was because he tightened up the spin on his curveball and he threw it consistently for strikes. And I would think with an 0-2 count, you should see it either this pitch or certainly the next.
Change speeds that time, but missed way outside.
Well, he threw the good curveball, but he just missed with it.
Two and two. Griffey walked, Kearns singled. Now Casey has an even count with the Reds in front in this 3rd inning in Cincinnati. Fly ball left field. Alou comes charging. It's off his glove. He's got to play at 3rd if he can make the throw, and he can't.
That's going to go as an error, and it is an E7. If Moises would have taken his time, he would have been able to get the force out at 3rd base. But when you drop it, you have a tendency to hurry the play. And consequently, he doesn't set up for the throw. It's off target, and no chance for Bellhorn to get to the bag.
So now you've got real big problems. Larson's up with the bags full. Chopped foul at the plate. Now they've charged 2 errors to the Cub line score. Casey thought Alou, as did all of us, was going to catch it.
He figured he would have been out. That ball hung up in left field.
So I guess they're going to charge an error on Alou dropping the ball and an error on the bad throw for Griffey at 3rd base. I don't know how you can do that.
No, I don't think you can do that. I think that one will be changed.
No matter how you score it, you've got 3 Reds on the base paths and Larson behind in the count. High fly ball to center. That ought to be deep enough to score Griffey. Let's see if Kearns can tag and move to 3rd. Here comes Junior. The throw is cut off. It's a 4-0 game. Larson has his 2nd RBI of the year. First and 3rd, 2 outs, and it's 4-0 Cincinnati.
Brandon Larson is awfully strong. And he hit that ball a long way to straightaway center field.
That's a nice night. It's 73, 74 degrees in Cincinnati. What's this place going to be like when it's 95 and muggy? That's the big question.
It's going to be a lot livelier than it is tonight, and it's awfully lively tonight.
Here's Dunn. He hit one to the smokestacks, and time called as maybe they're anticipating another home run because the stacks are smoking.
Well, I think Aesop Troy looked into the dugout and wanted to know where they wanted him to play.
He's going to play behind Casey and guard the line with the pull hitter up. And Dunn pops it up over toward the Cub dugout. Does anybody have a play? Strike one to Dunn.
Well, let's take a look at a Titanic home run last time up. Adam Dunn shows you just how much power he has. That was a rocket.
Former quarterback prospect at the University of Texas. I think he chose the right sport. No balls and a strike to him. A big 3-run Cincinnati third.
How'd you like to be looking at a 6'6", 240-pound quarterback coming around the end on the option play?
About as much as I would have liked to have seen Frank Thomas at tight end at Auburn. No, thank you. One to Dunn. I don't know if Bo Jackson was at Auburn when Frank was there, but for a brief while they must have terrorized the rest of the Southeastern Conference with Big Frank leading an off tackle play with Bo Jackson following. And Estes can't find the magic all of a sudden. He's in a big hole. 3 balls and a strike.
I was just astounded at how fast Bo Jackson could run.
Except when he played the Bulldogs, of course. 3 balls and a strike. And he walks Dunn. He'll take his chances with LaRue here, the 9th man to hit in the inning.
I think it's about time that someone got up and loosened that pen. 51 pitches so far, and Sean, who should be out of this inning, is just not throwing the ball real well.
So Kearns to third, Casey to second, Dunn to first with the second walk of the inning and game for Estes. And now the Cincinnati catcher will bat. This all started innocently enough with Danny Graves grounding out. Estes has no place to put the number 8 hitter here. They're starting to stir now in the Cub bullpen. LaRue with 3 grand slams.
And 379 with the bases loaded. Not bad for a guy that hit 249 last year. Bob Boone said he was the most improved player on this team.
Fly ball right center. That's a big problem. Sammy misplays that. It rolls to the wall, and 3 runs are going to score. LaRue around second, on his way to third. The throw right on time. He makes the third out at third, but he clears the bases. A 3-run triple caps a 6-run third, and the Reds have jumped out to a huge lead of 7-0. It's a 3-run double by Jason LaRue. He made the third out at third, but I don't think Bob Boone is going to mind that too much, for Cincinnati scored 6 times in that third inning.
LaRue hit this ball hard, but the ball got by Sammy. And Corey Patterson made the play. They're able to cut him down at third base, but not before the damage was done. And we told you there was 2 errors charged. The official scorekeeper retracted that. Only 1 error, that on Moises Alou, but it allowed 4 unearned runs to score.
That's tough to overcome. We'll see if the Cubs can. It's a 7-0 game heading to the middle innings now. And Danny Graves, who was on the ropes in the first with 20 pitches, induced a pop out from Corey Patterson with the bases loaded, and the Cubs failed to score in the first for the first time this year. The long ball and a few defensive miscues have plagued the Cubs so far tonight. And that one a cue ball shot. Graves can't get it. Boone bare hand try, and he can't get it. Throw wide to first.
That one goes a base hit. And pretty good job of backing up by LaRue, who went all the way up the line and wound up by the tarp to back up this play. So when it got by Graves off the end of the bat, it becomes a very difficult play.
Well, you don't think Bob Boone is going to instruct and expect his catchers to play like that? He was a great one with Anaheim and Philadelphia.
Good effort by Aaron Boone, and a little easier for him because third basemen make this play barehanded routinely. He shifts across to second, and Jason LaRue hustled down the line and saved the base.
Well, let's see if no lead is safe in this ballpark. Cubs have some thumpers coming up. Here's Aesop. He walked his first time up. And he hits a rope to Larkin. He surrounds that. Second base one. The turn to first is not in time. Aesop, for a big man, runs really well. They force Alou, one out.
And he hit that ball awfully hard, but Barry Larkin right in the way of it. And he knows that this should be two. It's not because of this bobble. Choi hustling down the line, and he beat that play easily.
Corey Patterson popped out his first time up. 7-0 Cincinnati. A score you don't hear too often in the wintertime in these parts.
That's very true. But the Bengals think they've got it well in hand this year.
They're talking about Byron Leftwich, aren't they?
Sure.
Carson Palmer's out there. NFL draft is coming up in a couple weeks.
Well, the advantage of having a woeful team is a very high draft choice.
And I believe they have the highest you can get. 2 balls, no strikes to Patterson. Choi at first. He's going to have to play station to station baseball for a while. And even if they didn't have to, you're playing with fire with LaRue behind the plate. He's an excellent receiver and thrower behind the plate. Two and two.
Well, it's kind of surprising. I know it's still relatively early in the game in the 4th inning, but they've got a 7-run lead, and yet they still have Casey holding Choi close at first. Usually with a left-hand hitter up, especially when you figure to throw inside, you'd have him play a step or so behind the base runner. But not in this case, so the hole on the right side is open.
Ground ball right side. It's through that hole. That cost Cincinnati a base and perhaps a double play. So 2 men are on with 1 man out.
Corey Patterson continues his hot hitting, and you see no chance for Casey because he's holding Choi on. Now you take a step or 2 out, but he's in close, no angle. If he's back, he makes that play, and maybe they turn a double play. As it is, the Cubs will take it. 2 on, only 1 out.
Let's see if Bellhorn can hit the ball on a line someplace. Mark could use a hit. Cubs could use some runs. Bellhorn with 27 home runs, of course, last season.
And Mark knows this is a golden opportunity for him. He's coming off a terrific year where he established the fact that he should get some everyday play. He's got to be able to swing the bat with authority to be able to do that, however. Chip, there's no championship teams built with a defensive third baseman. They all can hit.
He can do that, but he hasn't done it yet. 2 balls, no strikes. Good hitter's pitch. And now he should see an even better one with a 3-0 count.
Well, now you don't let him swing away. Now you have to take a pitch. Even if it's a strike, you still have a great hitter's count at 3-1.
Greatest date in baseball history, 1974. Henry Aaron hit number 714 against the Reds at Old Riverfront Stadium. Cubs looking for some home runs themselves tonight. They've got them loaded. What a time for Miller to pick up his first Cub hit. Bases loaded and one out. Cub bullpen is busy, as you figure, with the pitcher spot due up next, down 7 runs.
Juan Cruz throwing in the pen. Interesting bullpen configuration. The Cubs are right down the right field line, which you see in a lot of ballparks, but the Reds have their bullpen in left center field, which is a little unusual.
Ah, come on, Damian, you're due. Bases loaded, one out.
Well, they know that Damian Miller's strength is to right center field, so far Danny Graves is throwing everything inside. And that means that Bellhorn has to get a good lead at first base, because on a ground ball in the infield, you've got to get a run. You have to break up 2.
Good stop, LaRue, to even up the count. They're dancing in the aisles at Turner Field in Atlanta. The Braves have scored for the first time in 20 innings. They lead the Marlins 1-0. Colorado beat the Diamondbacks 2-1. Giants beat the Brewer bullpen again. They're 4-0. 7-5 the final in Milwaukee. Line drive right center field. Get down ball at will. 1 run is in. Patterson ran through a red light. They airmail the plate. Now Bellhorn tries for third, and he's out. Kearns airmailed home plate. 2 runs are in. Bellhorn trying to go from first to third on that play is thrown out, and the Cubs are on the board 7-2, but they're 2 men down now.
Austin Kearns throws this ball about 40 feet high, and a good job of backing up by Danny Graves. Real bad base running by Mark Bellhorn. You're down by 5, and you get thrown out at third base.
So 9-1-5 takes care of Bellhorn over at third. Miller takes second on the overthrow, and they will now allow Estes to bat for himself here with the Cubs down 7-2 in the 4th. So Damian Miller's first hit is a productive one for the Cubs.
He drives home 2, and Danny Graves saves him an error. And that's a very lucky break, because that ball with a curved back wall could have caromed anywhere, and it caromed right to Graves, who made the play at third.
Little things in this ball game have cost the Cubs dearly to this point. Estes down. No balls, 2 strikes. Couple of runs in on 3 hits against Graves. And it's a 7-2 Cincinnati game. That's over the corner, and the inning is over. Cubs get 2 on 3 hits. It's 7-2 Cincinnati midway through our 4th inning. Cubs baseball on WGN Sports is brought to you by Budweiser. The best things in life are those that are true. Budweiser. Home half of the 4th inning. Cincinnati leads at 7-2. Damian Miller with both Cub Army eyes. And Sean Estes back to work. And a ground ball by the Cincinnati hurler. 1 pitch, 1 out. Sean could use an easy inning, although the 4th inning starts the same way the 3rd inning starts. It wasn't exactly a whole lot of fun.
No, unfortunately, after Graves grounded to shortstop, along came the Thunder. The double to Larkin, the home run by Boone after a walk, a single, and then a bit of shaky defense on the part of the Cubs. Chip, one of the things they've got to improve in is base running, because in the early going so far, things have not worked out very well for the Cubs.
That carries over from that wacky game in New York where Cubs had 2 men picked off in a row. Ran into a double play.
2 guys thrown out at home plate.
And Bellhorn thrown out at third. Admire the hustle, but not the thought process. Going from first to third, down 5 runs on the road. Larkin 2 for 2. He's singled, he's doubled, and he has scored today.
Well, if Mark doesn't get thrown out, then Dusty undoubtedly pinch hit for Sean Estes. So hopefully he'll be able to rebound, take a little something positive out of this.
Three and one.
Larkin out of the University of Michigan, and at one point they had 3 of those folks in their starting lineup: Sabo, Morris, and Larkin.
3 and 2. Larkin didn't think much of that. 2 C's on Larkin's jersey. One, of course, for Cincinnati. The other for captain. When you approach 2 decades in a single uniform, you earn those honors. And he's aboard with a 1-out walk. Larkin, a royal pest, is on for the 3rd straight time in the game, and that's danger with Boone, Griffey, Kearns, and company coming up.
Aaron Boone, after faking a bunt last time up, took this one down the line and hit it out of the park. He is a product of the Cincinnati farm system, but was raised to be a 3rd baseman. This year having to shift across the diamond and learn second.
Amazing thing about Boone, you get lost in the fact of all the power. He can run well too. Over 30 stolen bases last year for Cincinnati.
Well, his brother got better and better as his career moved along, and Aaron appears to be doing the same thing.
Hot shot. That is foul over at third. Bruce Dreckman skipped the rope.
You have to admire the fancy footwork, but he was standing right on the line. He had a good look at it, and that was a rocket. Right now, Estes better make some better pitches, because the Reds are getting awfully good swings at him. And we'll see how patient Dusty is.
Nobody up at the moment. No balls and a strike. Little chopper toward Bellhorn. He'll wait on the ball. Second base wide, but good enough to get Larkin. Good stretch by Grunzelanek. 2 outs for Junior.
You're not going to get 2 on this one anyway. Mark Grunzelanek, knowing that that ball is slowly hit, just make sure that he gets the force out, and also make sure that he gets out of the way of a hard sliding Barry Larkin.
Griffey's lined out and walked, and he has scored one of Cincinnati's runs tonight. Jimmy Haynes and Carlos Zambrano in game 2 tomorrow afternoon. We're back here on WGN Sunday for the series wrap up. Line drive with the shift on. He still beats it. Around second goes Boone, and he'll put on the brakes. First and second, 2 out. Griffey has his first hit of the night.
Another fastball, another line drive. And Sean is just not hitting his spots with the fastball. Here comes Dusty Baker, and he realizes that Estes is getting hit awfully hard right now.
So while the Cubs skipper meets on the mound with Estes, we'll update you on the other baseball. White Sox have their home opener going, and the Tigers facing their final at bat. Long rain delay at Comiskey, or U.S. Cellular Field now as it's known.
But it looks like the White Sox have found a remedy for their slump. Bring the Tigers to town. And although those Tigers are very young, it's going to be a long year. They've got some talent, but it's a while away from maturing in the major leagues, and Dave Dombrowski, the GM, is going to witness a lot of losses this year before those guys mature.
Right now it's 5-2 in favor of the Sox. Seattle earned their second win. They beat the Rangers 6-4, another team that's going to have problems this year. Here's Kearns with 2 on and 2 out. And that's over but low. Yankees are visiting Uncle Lou Piniella and leading 3-1. Yankees apparently getting some good news on Derek Jeter. He might only miss 4 to 6 weeks with that shoulder separation.
And when they first looked at the MRI, they thought maybe up to 4 months with some surgery.
Jeter apparently is going to get a second opinion just to make sure, but word is that, at least on the wires, the Yankees very encouraged about that bit of news.
This is a real clutch situation for the Cubs and Sean Estes, because this is a lively park. 5 runs is not an insurmountable deficit. But you've got Kearns to get by and hold a score right here.
2-0. That's a good idea. Change some speed. 2-1 your count.
We'll take another look at it. Estes puts it in a good spot, but he's gotten a lot of pitches up tonight, and he doesn't throw hard enough these days to get away with that too often. And a concerned Larry Rothschild pacing in that dugout.
3 balls and a strike. You've got the left hand hitting Casey in the on deck circle. Elsewhere in the junior circuit, Boston playing much better baseball, beating Baltimore 5-1. The Royals, guess what? They've scored early. They lead at home against Cleveland 1-0. And Toronto's visiting Minnesota for the first time tonight. Line drive up the middle. That's trouble. Here comes Boone around third. He's going to score without a throw. It's 8-2. 3-1 count. Kearns had all the best of it.
We'll take another look at a very good young hitter. Austin Kearns takes it right back up the middle. It has not been a particularly good night for Sean Estes tonight. He's going to allow him to try to extricate himself from this inning by facing the left-hander. But if he doesn't get Casey, that will probably be it. And I'm thinking if he does get Casey, that will probably be it.
8 runs for Estes, only 4 of them earned. The Cubs 6 runs down in this 4th inning. Out of play for a strike to Casey. Cruz back up in the Cub bullpen. Dodgers play later on tonight out in San Diego. Darren Dreifert will take the mound for the first time since the middle of the 2001 season. 2 arm surgeries, and he threw great this spring.
And that's a great story.
High fly ball left center field, but Patterson's got to play, and the inning is over. Rough night for Sean Estes in his return to Cincinnati. He's given up 8, and the Cubs trail by 6. Amazing thing about Major League Baseball is the international flavor, and we'll show you about which we speak as we look at our Illinois Lottery fun fact.
And as we move along, you'll see more guys coming from Cuba and a lot more guys coming from the Pacific Rim. And it is truly an international game.
Cubs down 6 runs, top of the order here in the 5th inning. Graves with 64 pitches unofficially, and he's the only man in baseball born in Vietnam. That one tapped off Grudzielanic's foot, and he's down 2 quick strikes. Sosa lurking third in the Cub dugout. Cubs got a pair in the 4th. Graves continues to be tough, this time in the starting rotation for Cincinnati. They do have very good bullpen should he falter. 3 lefties and 4 righties are down there, anchored by former Rookie of the Year Scott Williamson, who's back from his elbow woes.
Before he went on the shelf, he had as good a stuff as anybody in baseball.
Line into center. There's a good start. Grudzielanik aboard.
Remember, this is the 3rd time through the order, and Danny Graves was a closer. This game's still far from over.
You've got to figure the third time through the hitters will have a much better idea of what Graves is throwing.
I think, Chip, that this is going to be one of those parks that you very rarely are going to get a low-run ball game. It's a very lively ballpark.
Ball one to the Cubs shortstop Alex Gonzalez, who's doubled and flied out. This the 103rd different ballpark the Cubs have played in. And we'll add another one to the total next year when the Phillies' new park opens.
Sammy has homered in 37 different ballparks and trying to make it 38 tonight.
Alex ahead in the count, 2 balls, no strikes. They're starting to stir a bit in the Cincinnati pen. Lined into the left field corner. That'll drop for a hit. Grunzelanek around second. He's on his way to third. Wendell Kim's going to green light him. Relay from Larkin to the plate. It's close and late. Ball ricochets away, but no further advance. Bookend doubles for Gonzalez. It's now an 8-3 game, and still nobody out with Sosa coming up.
Well, I'm hoping that Grunzelanek is okay because he went in awfully hard and hit the shin guards of Jason LaRue. Wendell Kim is a very aggressive third base coach, especially 6 runs down. He figures they'll run on Larkin. The throw is pretty good, and you see right into the shin guard of LaRue. The ball gets away, and the Cubs pecking away at Danny Graves, and they're hitting the ball pretty hard tonight.
So third look for Sosa now. He's been hit by a pitch. He's struck out, and he's thinking about 500. Graves, remember, last time up got away with a hanger that Sosa swung and missed to retire the side in the 3rd inning. If Graves makes the same mistake, Sammy's going to make him pay. Long ball here would be real nice. Natives starting to stir here in the 0-1 to Sosa. Swing and a fly ball, shallow right center field. Kearns will make the play. And he's got a terrific arm. You're not going to run on him. 1 out. Sammy 0 for 2.
Well, Kearns does have a very good arm, but he airmailed the catcher once, and Chip, there's no reason to throw that ball all the way into third because Gonzalez isn't going anywhere. Get it to the cutoff man and save yourself any potential risk of making an overthrow.
Alex stands at second with his first RBI of the year.
And I would think that Moises, who had a misplay in left field, would like to make amends here. He's off to a terrific start this year. The Cubs need to get him 1 at a time.
He's right on top of that plate with 1 out. Graves got it by him. Strike 1. It's only the 5th inning. Cubs down 8-3. Through again, a good stop. 328 down the left field line, 379 to left. There is a 12-foot high wall above the National and American League scoreboards. The wall drops down to 8 feet right at the Reds bullpen in center field. 404 to straightaway center, 370 to right, and 325 down the right field line.
And right where it says Ohio Lottery is a place that the ball just flies out, and that's in straightaway left center field.
That's the hitter's jackpot for sure. 2 balls and a strike.
Another hanging breaking ball, and again Graves gets away with it.
Well, he said, Stoney, he was getting in touch with his feminine side with that manicure.
Well, 2 artificial nails to stop blisters on his index finger and middle finger on the throwing hand. If he goes into showbiz, he's going to be okay.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Alex, a good lead out at second. Let's see if Graves has the same idea. He's backed up Alou twice and come back with the breaking ball. He's got a full count now.
Moise is one of the better contact hitters on this team. You would think Graves would go with another breaking ball, although it has been hanging, and that's a dangerous pitch.
LaRue sets up outside. It is a breaking ball, and he hammers it into left. Dunn plays it on one hop. Cubs have runners at the corner now with one out. Now Lou thinking along with you and me.
And that's why Moises is such a good hitter. You might make a mistake in one at bat, and 3-2, he knows first base is open. He hangs it. Moises drives it into left field. And these two teams are blessed with outstanding pitching coaches. Larry Rothschild and Don Gullett, who you see right there, are the two guys that are as well respected in this game as any two pitching coaches anywhere in baseball.
I can't think of another pitching coach. Obviously, Larry Rothschild's situation with the Cubs far different from that of Gullett. The Cubs blessed with great pitching throughout the system, and certainly from top to bottom on the staff. Reds have had to take on some projects, and Don Gullett has found a way to get the most out of a lot of guys that have been given up on by other major league teams.
Well, there's a way of communicating with pitchers where you just suggest things to them, and eventually, if they're smart and open to any type of help, it'll dawn on them that maybe they should try this and try that, and Gullett is a master at it, and so's Larry.
Here's Hesop, big spot in this game, and there's a rocket deep left center field toward the lottery sign, and she is gone.
The Ohio Lottery. Hello, ball game. The Cubs are back in it, and that's what Choi can do. Line drive rockets to left center field. That's why they're so excited about him in Wrigley Field, because that's the home run alley there, and apparently it is here.
So the Cubs and Reds finding out about the Great American Ballpark, and he hits a laser beam and hits the jackpot, his first homer of the year, and the Cubs are inside of 3 on that scoreboard. 8-6 your score, and with this Cub bullpen, you feel pretty good about shutting down the Reds, but we'll see. Here's Patterson, a 4-run 5th off Graves, and now the Reds pen goes to work.
There's Dick Pohl and Dusty Baker seeing their team claw their way back in it.
Third time through the order also. Something that Graves is going to have to be concerned with as he makes his first full season as a starter.
Well, Chip, the arm strength wasn't there because you could tell he was hanging the breaking ball this inning. And with it, his location is gone out the window. So you always want to get your starting pitcher through 5 innings when you have a big lead. Well, that big lead is history. Corey Patterson hoping to chip away at that.
Scott Sullivan up in the Reds pen. You talk about a man with a rubber arm. He is it. He is up almost every day and in almost every game. He's a bad year for him is less than 100 innings.
Well, last year he had a real tough year, and this is normally an exceptional reliever. 71 appearances, but a 6.06 ERA.
Ground ball toward Boone at second. Horry flies down the line, but is retired for out number 2. Base is clear for Mark Bellhorn.
Well, with the Cubs right back in the middle of it, courtesy of Hesop Choi, you would think they would go to Cruz next inning. It's a 2-run game, and Juan Cruz looked exceptionally good in New York. I think Dusty Baker wants to see how good he looks in Cincinnati.
So far, the Cubs bats in this inning coming to life. 4 runs on 4 hits. No lead is safe, and it's going to be a offensive summer in Cincinnati. No balls, 2 strikes to Bellhorn. Come on, Mark. 0 for 1 with a walk.
You can tell the scouting report on Mark Bellhorn, and it's breaking balls and off-speed pitches. And Danny Graves right now is not real happy with the spin on his curveball. I would think that this would be the last inning for him.
His spot is due 4th in that 5th inning. Pitches really piling up for him. He came in the low 60s. He's been out there a while here in this 4-run Cub uprising in Cincinnati. Right down the middle of the fastball, and that retires the side. Hee-Seop Choi wins the Ohio Lottery, a 3-run homer to bring the Cubs to within 2. It's an 8-6 score. Hee-Seop Choi's first home run of the 2003 season makes it an 8-6 game. And the Cubs now turn things over to their bullpen. And Steve, you can't have a better debut than Juan Cruz did for the Cubs in New York at Shea Stadium. He did something that only one other Cub reliever did in franchise history.
Well, he's also on a streak. 6 strikeouts. Vaughn, Wigginton, Burnett, Sanchez, Perez, and Cedeno. And a couple of games ago, had anybody come up after them, he probably would have struck them out also, as Lenny Harris takes over at third base. And Juan Cruz comes into the game. The Cubs fought their way back. They trail by just 2.
So Harris will bat in the number 9 spot, which is due up second in the 6th. Cruz bats in the vacated spot of Mark Bellhorn, which was 7. So here's Larson. And he pops the first pitch up back toward us and out of play.
Larson has never seen Cruz. Cruz has never seen Larson. Advantage Cruz, especially when he throws him that first slider.
That was the amazing thing about Juan in New York. He had all 3 pitches, and he was able to change speeds with all 3 pitches. He really had those Met hitters off balance. And that's the great equalizer. He throws that thing at 97 with movement. Not too many men are going to hit it. This Cub bullpen certainly has a lot to prove this season, but with the arms down there, if you have a 2-run game either way like we do tonight, it might be like Uncle Lou's old Cincinnati Nasty Boy bullpen. You're not going to get too many offensive chances against that crew.
Well, Jim Bowden told me that Larson has the bat speed of Gary Sheffield. That's high praise. But he's not going to hit sliders like that.
7 straight strikeouts for Juan Cruz out of the bullpen. Wow.
Take a look at where Miller wants this, and take a look at where Cruz puts it. It's absolutely a perfect pitch. And for you folks looking on home, nobody hits that one. If Cruz throws it there, it's absolutely unhittable.
He struck out 7 men in a row. Tougher challenge, though. Left-hand hitting Adam Dunn. He's homered, he's walked, and he's scored twice.
Dunn is not going to hit the good fastball inside. And if you throw it there, you're going to be able to throw it by him. But we saw just how much power he has. But you don't strike out 170 times because you have good plate coverage.
There were times last year, especially in the first half for Dunn, which was a great first half for anybody. There were people who actually criticized his approach because he took so many pitches that were an eyelash off the strike zone, pitches some felt he could drive for hits or home runs.
Well, that's the changeup, and that's another thing that Cruz has that a lot of people haven't seen. If you can throw 97 and have a pretty good slider and follow it up with a changeup, just keep it anywhere close to the zone and you're going to be in good shape.
1-2 to Dunn. Evens up the count. The 2-2. See you later. 8 straight strikeouts.
Another cold strikeout, and again, the first slider he's seen from Cruz, you can't pull the trigger. That's absolutely astounding. That slider, it's called a backdoor slider when you shave off the outside corner to the left-hand hitter. That's absolutely astounding.
A new Cub record, 8 straight strikeouts for Juan Cruz.
I would say the first guy that makes contact, you give him the game ball.
I don't think anybody is. That is incredible. Jamie Moyer, Kerry Wood, and Mark Pryor struck out 7 consecutive men once. Bruce Sutter, as we mentioned, with the record prior to Juan Cruz, was on quite a roll. 8 straight strikeouts. Remember, the first man he faced in New York was Jeremy Burnitz, I believe, and he had an infield dribbler for a hit. And then Cruz got down to business. And there's a ground ball. That'll end the streak, and it'll end the inning. 3 up, 3 down. Juan Cruz mows him down in the Cincinnati 5th.
The Chicago Cubs and may not be reproduced nor retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Chicago Cubs.
Well, friends, I know you're all excited about Saturday, April 12th, because the first 20,000 fans get a Topps 1976 Steve Stone baseball card, compliments of MBNA. The Cubs will battle the Pirates at 1:20. For tickets, call 1-800-THE-CUBS. And Steve, in the spirit of opening day for the Reds, they had the Pete Rose lookalike be the honorary Grand Marshal for the season opening parade. We have an honorary Steve Stone lookalike here in Cincinnati.
I could have spent my whole life and never got a mustache quite that full.
So here we go to the 6th. Scott Sullivan is in for the Reds. He of the rubber arm and the odd angle of delivery.
Side-wheeling right-hander who always appears in over 70 games a year. He's done that 4 years in a row.
Reds also bring in Felipe Lopez to play third base on the double switch. Sullivan will bat 6th. Lopez will bat 9th. And Miller, 1 ball, 1 strike.
There's a look at the young man that they believe is their shortstop of the future. They got him in a 3-way trade.
Over the screen and foul by Miller. Damian's first Cub hit, a 2-run scoring 4th inning single. This thing's not over by a long shot. Not in this park. Not with the Cub pen, and certainly not with Cincinnati's pen. They've had a few problems there in the young year. And Damian swings over the top. 1 up, 1 down for Lenny Harris.
Sullivan has some problems with left-handers because when you throw from the side, a left-hander sees the ball a lot better than a right-hander. Last year, that .606 ERA with 93 hits in under 80 innings shows you that he has some problems. However, right-handers have some problems with him. So let's see if Lenny Harris can start things off.
Big cut and a miss. Want to thank Lenny for directing Steve and me to the field today when we got to the ballpark and the clubhouse.
That's rule number 1 in a new ballpark, is be able to locate the field. We would have still been walking.
Lenny played for many years with Cincinnati, broke in with them in 1998 or 1988, I beg your pardon. Went to Los Angeles, came back from 94 through 98. Now battles on with the Cubs. Lined into left field. That's going to hang up, though, for Dunn. Good swing, good contact, but 2 out.
All around baseball, Chip, early in the season, everybody very excited about their team. Not many teams better than Oakland in the American League, and their fans getting right behind that club. Facing Seattle, they drew 6,200 people for yesterday's game.
And that wasn't bad luck schleprock against Barney Rubble on the mound, was it?
No, it was Mark Mulder, who does usually a pretty good job.
Here's Grudzielanek. He singled and scored in that 4-run fifth.
Well, in order for them to have a real good year, they have to have comeback years out of Sullivan and a whole lot of others out of that bullpen, Gabe White among them. But Williamson is a key.
Cubs would love to have a 2-out uprising here. Give Sosa a chance to turn the game around. It's 8-6 Cincinnati. Still more than a third of the game left. Driven foul.
Well, you alluded to that 1990 team that had the Nasty Boys, and it's been a long time since we've seen any bullpen resembling that. Randy Myers, Norm Charlton, and of course Rob Dibble, and they all threw in excess of 95 miles an hour.
And they weren't punching out the opposition, they were punching each other out. With Uncle Lou at the helm.
Well, that's the year they went wire to wire.
What a team.
Never trailed one day of the season.
Each team with 8 hits. And Mark keeps on fighting off Sullivan pitches here. Reds will have Lopez, Larkin, and Boone coming up in their half of the 6th. We mentioned Cincinnati 0-3. Last time they started 0-3, they won 96 games that season. That was 1999. They missed the playoffs, though.
Bob Boone realizes that he's got to be in contention this year. Anytime you're in the last year of a contract, it gets a lot of pressure.
Well, they're going to score runs. It's going to be interesting to see how creative he and Don Gullett can be with their pitching. 3-2. Another foul ball. Good at bat from Grudzielanek.
There are some Cub fans that made the trek down here, and there are a lot of folks for the Hot Wheel convention at our hotel.
Tell you what.
Boy, that's an interesting crew.
Yes, sir. High pop up, out of play. Few family trees that aren't forking. Grudzielanek keeps the at bat alive. Let's pause quickly for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN-TV, Chicago's WB.
Inside corner. Mark thought he earned the walk. Sullivan strikes out 2 in his first inning, and the Reds lead it by 2. Well, an Eddie Shepard lookalike. As we head to the bottom of the 6th inning, switch hitting Felipe Lopez goes to work against Juan Cruz here in the home half of the 6th. Lopez, part of that big trade. He came over from Toronto. Elmer descends, went to Arizona. Rubio Durazo to the A's. And Toronto got right-handed pitcher Jason Arnold to complete the deal. That was 10 days before Christmas last season. Lopez, the #1 pick in 1998 by Toronto.
Well, the Reds know that Lopez can do it defensively. They're worried about the offense. And he hit just .227 last year for Toronto. But they feel that he's young enough to be able to learn how to hit.
He's from metropolitan Orlando, Florida area. Lake Brantley High School. In Altamont Springs, that's just north of town. Big mall there. Lots of road construction. 2 balls, 2 strikes. High fly ball hammered to right, and that's playable for Sammy. One away in the Cincinnati sixth. Chip Caray, Steve Stone back in Cincinnati. Time for our Budweiser True Fan Cam in the Reds' new home. He's reached. One time he scored. Talking to Barry before the game, he asked, how's Cruz throwing? I said, pretty well, and he just rolled his eyes, shook his head, and walked away.
Well, he's going to see it up close and personal right here. 4 guys faced, 4 guys retired.
Ground ball to short. 2 outs. Cruz perfect thus far. Here's Boone. He also a big night. 2-run homer. He scored twice.
One of the things Aaron Boone can do, as well as show power, which we saw, he can bunt. And with 2 outs and nobody on, it's something that Lenny Harris should keep in mind. Right now he's back at third and he's backing up.
Tried to buckle him with a breaking ball, but missed. Up and in. Hope our old pal Jason Beret is doing okay. Shoulder pain puts him on the 15-day DL for the Cleveland Indians today. Jason, a class act who really had some bad luck last season for the Cubs. Found a home in Cleveland on a very young team. They were hoping he would be durable enough to help nurse along some of those young starters.
They've
got
got
the season's going to start very well for
They've
them.
got some very good young starters. But it's going to be tough for them, as Minnesota and the White Sox have real good baseball teams.
Nasty breaking ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. White Sox got their first win. They beat the Tigers 5-2. Esteban Loaiza 6 2/3 of very good work. Joe Crede a homer.
That's not the last one you're going to see from Joe Crede, who's going to be a real good ball player.
1 ball, 2 strikes, bases clear. See you later. He paints the outside corner, and the Reds are seeing smoke from Juan Cruz. Middle of the order coming. Juan Cruz has a blazing fastball early this year out of the bullpen. And now the Cubs bats have to come to life. Down 2 runs with 9 outs to give.
They're going right through the heart of the order, and the on-base percentage for the first few guys in the order has been terrific, and that's why the Cubs are scoring as many runs as they are.
Gonzalez, Sosa, and Dalu. 3 right-hand bats. First pitch popped up. Shallow left center. Easy play for Barry Larkin. 1 man down.
Sammy Sosa,
the right
cannot
fielder,
wait
number 21, Sammy
to get a
Sosa.
good foothold in that batter's box.
Sonia Sosa hoping Sammy can do it right here. He would draw the Cubs to within a run.
You see the flash bulbs popping all over the ballpark on every pitch thrown to Sammy Sosa. Everybody hoping to get a lasting, indelible image of Sammy's 500.
This is a man he's hit very hard. 3 lifetime homers against Sullivan. That one too far to offer. 8 hits and 23 at bats for Sammy. The last 2 hits off of Sullivan have been over the boards.
When you're a side wheeler and you leave it over the inside part of the plate, it becomes very easy to hit.
1 ball, 1 strike. And he expanded the zone that time. He's a little anxious. 1 and 2. Base is clear. And a high fly ball belted right center field. There it goes. Number 500. Sammy Sosa earns that ticket to Cooperstown. 500 homers or more. And a standing ovation in Cincinnati for Sosa, who hit a rocket to right center field.
Chip, it's only fitting that the home run went to right center field because Sammy is one of the most powerful opposite field hitters the game has ever known. That was a line drive rocket over the 370 sign, no doubt about it. And it pulls the Cubs to within 1.
Only 4 of the 17 men to hit 500 home runs or more before Sosa just did it. Hit 500 home runs before the age of 35. Jimmy Fox, Willie Mays, Henry Aaron, Babe Ruth. Add Sammy Sosa to the list, whose last 3 hits against Scott Sullivan have left the ballpark.
I'm very surprised at Sammy, who obviously desperately wanted to get this behind him, was as patient as he was in the first 4 games of this year. His on-base percentage is terrific, but he finally got one out away and drove it out of the park.
2-2 to Alou, and he almost got hit. Full count. It's amazing, too. You wonder if Sammy just reeled him in. He had such a wild swing on the pitch before and then absolutely creamed it out to right center.
That looked like a fastball. It was a slider that mystified him on the pitch before.
Alou sends a bolt down the left field line, and that's foul. And here's a look at history in Cincinnati.
This is a fastball, and it gets too much of the outside corner, and Sammy, with the pop and the hop, a no doubt line drive, something you'll see a few more times before it's over.
3-2 again. And Moises fought it off. What a comeback win this could be.
Well, we've seen a lot of Ernie Banks, number 500. And the entire Sosa family in Cincinnati for the occasion. They could see a couple hundred more before it's over.
Chances are good. 3-2 to Alou, who asks for time. It's amazing. We talked about this in New York. There are some around this game who feel that the preponderance of home run hitters in the game has made the 500 home run mark less important now than it was 20 or 30 years ago.
Yeah, those are the guys that haven't hit too many home runs, because everyone in that exclusive club, number one, it's almost a guaranteed trip to Cooperstown, and number two, you've got to be durable, you have to be strong, you have to be a tremendous hitter, but you have to spend a lot of years in this game.
Good battle with Alou here, and Mo lines it into center field. The tying run is on with 1 out in the 7th.
Well, the Reds are wondering which Scott Sullivan is going to show up this year. The one who had an ERA in the low 3s 4 previous years, or the one who had an ERA in the 6s last year. Moises Alou with a good battle, gets a high inside fastball, able to bring his hands inside and hit that ball back up the middle. And folks, that is the sign of a real talented hitter. Most guys get jammed with that one. That's going to be it for Sullivan.
He gives up history. Home run number 500 to Sammy Sosa. Cubs are down only a run, and into the pen goes Bob Boone for the 2nd time tonight. Gabe White gets the ball, clinging to a 1-run lead. Center field, there it goes, number 500. Sammy Sosa earns that ticket to Cooperstown. So it's a 1-run game. Reds go to the pen. Gabe White against Hee-Sop Choi, who hit a 3-run homer his last time. And Hee-Sop not at all phased, Steve, in his spring training at bats or early in the season. Lefty righty doesn't bother him a bit.
Gabe White has a good fastball, but it's straight. And this is a confidence builder with Dusty Baker letting Choi face the left-hander.
One quick strike. And Choi, a swinging bunt. White thinks about second and almost took too much time. But Alou moves into scoring position after his third hit of the night. And now Corey Patterson, who's also swung the bat very well against lefties, with a hit could tie this game.
Well, Gabe White almost made a mistake. All you listen for is the catcher. He's got the play in front of him, and he'll tell you where to throw it. He wheeled towards second, was very lucky to be able to still get the out at first base, but the tying run in scoring position for Corey Patterson.
Corey has a hit. He scored a run, and he hits a rocket deep to right. That one caught, however, by Kearns. Boy, he hit that right on the screws. And the side is retired. But a slice of history in Cincinnati. Boy, we wish you were here in person. Glad you're with us on WGN. We got a one-run game tonight. Here we go to the home half of the seventh. Juan Cruz on for another inning. He'll face Griffey, Kearns, and Casey. The pitcher spot is due up fourth for Cincinnati. Cubs down a run. 8-7. And you figure the way that Cruz and this Cub pen has thrown, 8's about all Cincinnati's going to get. You wonder if their pen can stop the Cubs in the last two innings.
This is a tough inning for Juan Cruz because he goes right through the heart of the Red order, and it's a pretty impressive offense.
And that was the big question mark. Coming out of spring training, the Cubs collectively were not swinging the bats well, weren't making a lot of contact. We've seen very little evidence of that strikeout bug in the first 4 games of this year.
They're making contact, and for the most part, they're hitting very well situationally.
Griffey sent a high drive into right center, but he got under it too much. 7 up, 7 down. And welcome to the 500 home run club, Sammy Sosa.
And it's no coincidence that every name on that list but the man you're looking at is in the Hall of Fame. Fans here in Cincinnati have a great sense of history, and it was wonderful to see the curtain call and a standing ovation for Sammy Sosa.
Kearns cuts and misses. 2 for 3 is the young right fielder. Had some loose bodies taken out of his left elbow on March the 10th. Hasn't stopped him tonight. He swung a very good bat. He's not going to catch up to Mr. Cruz, it wouldn't appear. Nothing in 2-year count.
Very few guys that I've ever seen in this game that can hit that fastball neck high at 97 miles an hour. When he was young, Vinny Castillo was one of them, but very few guys can get over the top.
Swing, and that's trouble. He did catch up. An 0-2 mistake.
After throwing a high fastball right by him, Juan Cruz went to the slider and hung it. And Austin Kearns, with his 3rd hit of the night, his 2nd run batted in. Doesn't matter how good the stuff is. When you hang that slider, it goes a long way. Watch it again. It's supposed to be low and away, and the slider just hung over the middle part of the plate. And this is why they're so excited about Austin Kearns.
Why not? 3 hits tonight. He scored 2, knocked in 2. And the Reds, with a little bit more breathing room, lead it 9-7. Little ground ball by Casey. You got plenty of time with him running. 2 men out.
I'd like to say hello to my folks, Paul and Shirley Stone, looking on in Cleveland, Ohio. You know, being a former Buckeye myself, born and raised in Cleveland, you get that tingle when you come into town. I didn't know if it was being back in Ohio or Skyline Chili that they have so many parlors.
Either that,
Cincinnati.
or again, word that there is a $73,000 Hot Wheel at the convention at our hotel for sale. You don't see too many of those.
Nor do you see too many empty elevators. It is one crowded hotel. Juan Cruz now trying to nail down the last out of the inning and keep the 2-run deficit, and Reggie Taylor will come on to pinch hit. Sure, Miller talking to him about the bunt possibilities.
Taylor can really run, and he smacks that one into center field. A 2-out single. Let's see if the Reds turn him loose here. Well, what a night tonight. 29 years ago, Henry Aaron hit his 714th across the street at Old Riverfront Stadium. Tonight, Sammy Sosa hit his 500th. Cruz might be tiring a bit. Larry Rothschild out for a visit as Adam Dunn digs in. Great entertaining offensive game. 9-7, like Houston, like Colorado, and like Wrigley Field when the wind's blowing out. Pitchers are not going to enjoy this particular park, I wouldn't imagine.
Well, for the Hall of Famer Marty Brenneman, who's broadcasting just to our right with his partner Joe Nuxall, who has seemingly been around forever. When they do home games this year, they're not going to do too many that end quickly. This is a very lively offensive park, and some think it's going to rival Coors Field in the amount of runs scored.
They better get Nuxie some no-dos.
Well, he's got a very comfortable chair over there, as does Marty, but Marty says the comfortable chair is because he's a Hall of Famer. And there you see his head just sitting on the rail.
Looks an awful lot like Mr. Red. How do you get one of those chairs? Those are pretty snazzy.
Well, with the ticket to Cooperstown comes those very comfortable chairs.
Well, we'll have to wait a while.
I think so. Maybe forever.
That's true. Here's Dunn. Nice night for him. Cruz off the stretch.
Larry Rothschild went out to tell him two things. Number one, Reggie Taylor can run at first base, and odds are he'll be looking for a stolen base if Dunn gets down 2 strikes. And two, he wanted to remind him how to pitch to Dunn, who hit a prodigious home run earlier.
Missed with the off-speed pitch. Seven Cincinnati. Taylor a big lead over at first, not going. Got that one over for a 2-1 count.
Well, normally with a power hitter up, you like to anchor that guy at first to keep the hole open on the right side, but they're playing Dunn to pull, and I would watch Taylor closely here. He's just extended his lead by a foot.
Not going. Dunn takes a low. Ball 3. Big showdown in St. Louis. Houston beating the Cardinals 5-2 in that one at Busch Stadium. Marlins lead Atlanta 3-2 in the 6th. Mets over Montreal 3-0. We will see the Expos for the first time on Monday, weather permitting, in Chicago.
The Expos have a very talented young club. There you look at Dave Veers. He's loosening up in the pen. We're going to see Jose Vidro, Vladimir Guerrero, Orlando Cabrera, and unfortunately, most likely, Javier Vasquez, who's a wonderful pitcher.
Full count to Adam Dunn. Reds drawing well in their home park, looking for their first win. Taylor runs, and it's popped out of play. Pirates went to 4-0. Reggie Sanders, his 4th homer in as many games to lead the Pirates to a 4-0 record.
What do you think the temperature was in Colorado with a 2-1 game at Coors Field?
Probably not too high. Sean Chacon outdueled Byung-Hyun Kim in that one. Again, the 3-2. Taylor moving, and it's lined into left. Alou got a very good jump and makes a fine running catch to retire the side. Kearns hits a homer. Reds now have a 2-run lead with 2 innings of baseball left in Cincinnati. For instant replay Sunday night on WGN. Dan will have a complete wrap-up of all today's sports action, including a preview of the NCAA basketball championship. A look at the Sox and Cubs, and meet WGN Tribune Prep Athlete of the Month. That's Sunday night at 9:40. Dan Roan with instant replay on WGN.
And folks, stay tuned right after our game, because Sammy Sosa will be on live.
Reggie Taylor stays in the game. He'll take over for Adam Dunn in left. And the Reds go to the pen again. They're going to be very busy out in that bullpen. John Riedling, the latest to appear.
Riedling last year appeared in 33 games for Cincinnati. Was 2-4 with a minuscule 2.70 ERA. So this is one of the youngsters they're counting on to come through in a big way out of the pen. He talked to Bob Boone. He said, look, I know that the starting pitching is going to have its problems at times, but I think the bullpen is going to be the strength of this staff.
He'll be tested as speedy Tom Goodwin bats for Juan Cruz here. Eighth inning already. 16 runs, 20 hits combined, as the Cubs and Reds meet for the first time as Central Division rivals in 2003. Should be a fun race. No perfect team in the division. Reds are going to score a lot of runs. Can they pitch enough? Houston's going to score a lot of runs. Can they pitch enough? Cardinals are going to score. Can they pitch enough?
I think the key to all of those teams you mentioned, as well as the Cubs, Chip, is going to be production out of numbers 4 and 5 in the rotation. The top 3 is pretty good for all of these teams. The 4th and 5th starters is going to tell the tale on who wins a very competitive National League Central.
That ball stayed high. Scott Williamson, their closer, getting ready in case there's any difficulty. Boone has never been afraid to use his closer for more than an inning if the situation requires it. 2 balls and a strike to Goodwin. Slapped foul. 2-2. American League scores. Toronto winning in Minnesota in the 5th. That one 2-0. Kansas City winning again. They're beating Cleveland 5-1 in the 6th. Jeff Pentland, by the way, the Royals hitting coach.
And he's done a great job with Mike Sweeney.
Yankees over Tampa Bay 7-1 in the 8th. Boston 8-3 over Baltimore in the 8th.
I'd like to be Sweeney's hitting coach. That guy can really hit. In fact, that Kansas City team is going to surprise a lot of people. They're not given much credit for the arms, but the offense. They got a rookie named, I think, Ken Harvey, who can really hit. Ibanez had a breakout season last year.
Fabulous. Beltran.
And Beltran's been hurt.
Goodwin laid off. Tough pitch in the dirt. And the count full. Cubs would love a leadoff man here, with Miller, Harris, Grunzelanek to follow. This is where you want that on-base percentage to be as high as it can be. He's done a good job of that all year long to this point.
Well, he swung at ball 4, and you got to figure he wanted to protect, but you have to make sure the ball's in the zone. A walk is critical. Riedling was fortunate that ball was low and in, and Tom Goodwin didn't want to leave it in the hands of Brian Runge. And now Sean Casey out to have a word. You tell him, I'm deep enough where you really have to hustle to get to the bag if there's a chopper, because Goodwin can really run.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Tom Goodwin here in the 8th. Good battle here.
The Cubs have veterans off the bench, and they've got balance on both sides. One of the best benches that I think the Cubs have had in many a year.
Goodwin, Harris, Bacco, and O'Leary from the left side. Martinez and Karros from the right tonight. Goodwin, ground ball. Let's see if Casey can win the race to the bag. He will by a step. One man down. Here's your chance to explore beautiful and historic Wrigley Field. You can visit the clubhouse, the press box, playing field, dugouts, and more during a 90-minute guided tour of Wrigley Field. Tours are available on selected weekend dates from May to September, and they're sponsored by MBNA. Ticket price just $15. It's a donation to Cubs Care Charities. Schedule your tour early. Tour sizes are limited. You can call the tour hotline at 800 the Cubs. Bob Boone on the edge of his seat as the Reds still searching for their first win of the year. Miller and Harris to follow in this 8th inning. Cincinnati 9, Cubs 7.
Well, this is a park where the hitters will leave just about every night with a big smile on their face, and the pitchers are going to need therapy before too long. And Bob Boone, with a few gray hairs now, will find all the hairs that are left that are not gray probably gone by the end of this year.
2-0. Line right center field. That's the Damian Miller stroke. Let's see if Kearns can cut it off. He can't. Miller in scoring position with one man out. Cubs down a pair late. 2 hits for Damian tonight.
Well, you're in a situation, if you're Dusty Baker, looking at the way this game is shaping up and knowing that Scott Williamson is the closer, where you might have to try to win it with Troy O'Leary. So that's why you don't pinch hit for Damian Miller. And the fact is, he had a 2-run single in the 4th inning, and when he's at his best, this is where he hits the ball, right center field.
So Miller 2 for 4 after an 0-for-9 start. Here's Harris. He flied out to left. Lenny with a triple against Riedling in his brief number of matchups against the young red right-hander.
Best arm in the outfield by far is Boston Kearns.
But you don't always know where the ball's going to go with him, as we've seen tonight.
He has thrown it well wide of the bag on occasion.
Dave Veers up in the Cub pen. He'll be the second man called upon to work the Reds' 8th. Hopefully he'll have either a tie or a lead with which to work. Cubs were down 7-0 in this game. It's 9-7 now. There's the all-time pinch hit leader in the history of the game. He'd love to come back to Cincinnati and tie this one up.
Well, right now a base hit will do, because it's hard to hit it out in right field.
1-2. Tell you what, Mr. LaRue, I think he has earned Bob Boone's praise. He's had a terrific night behind the plate. He's been busy knocking stuff down all evening long back there.
And he's much improved, and if you've got Bob Boone as your manager, one of the greatest catchers to ever play the game, you would think defensively that he could give you a couple of tips. And I asked Bob about calling pitches, and he said they call a lot of them from the dugout.
Just the ones that stay in the ballpark.
Well,
right.
Bob also said something interesting. He said, you know, when I was behind the plate, I was always considered to be a real good caller of the game. He goes, I still think I can do that, but from my perspective now, it's much easier if the catcher and I are thinking along the same lines, because he can tell when a batter has moved up a couple of inches on the plate. He can tell when a guy's pulling off the ball. A much better feel if you're in the game.
2-2. Line down the right field line. That one might go. It does go. Lenny Harris, a 2-run homer to tie the game. Welcome back to Cincinnati, Lenny.
Those folks in the Cub dugout are mighty happy, and a cascade of boos rains down here in Cincinnati as the home folks a little frustrated with a pitching staff that's been unable to hold a 7-0 lead. The Cubs have come all the way back. It's tied at 9. Lenny Harris hits it just over the wall. A line drive rocket into the Cub bullpen. And just like that, Sean Estes is off the hook, and Danny Graves can't win it.
Ozias Manzanillo suffered a similar fate against the Pirates a couple of games ago. Tonight it's Riedling that has problems. The Cubs were down 7. They've come back to tie it. A different team, a different attitude. This would not have happened last season. Now let's get the win. Here's Grudzielanek with one out. Back up the middle. Go-ahead run is on. Lenny Harris with the third Cub home run of this ball game. Strokes it down the right field line, and Stoney, he kept it under radar.
John Riedling threw a fastball on the inner portion, and this line drive rocket finds the bullpen. It doesn't go out by much. And Chip, I got to tell you, before this season is over, Bob Boone's going to have cauliflower ear from being on that phone to the bullpen. Lenny Harris awfully happy with that at bat. And we talked to you about the Cub bench. It's had a big hand in this game. As Don Gullett goes out to talk with Riedling, suggesting perhaps he gets somebody out. Lenny Harris is really pumped up.
Well, the key to this game right now is Juan Cruz for the Cubs. He gave up 1 run in 3 innings. He bought enough time for the offense to get into the Cincinnati pen, and they have responded with 3 runs in the 7th and here in the 8th combined. Here's Gonzalez. Alex with a pair of doubles, a run scored, and an RBI tonight. Sosa hit his 500th. How sweet would that be if the Cubs could also come back from a touchdown down tonight? Big lead by the G-man at first. Way up high, ball 2. Kent Merker, veteran left-hander, joins Williamson in the bullpen.
You've got to get a good secondary lead because you have to keep this inning alive. Anything hit on the ground, these guys can turn 2 with the best of them.
Ball 3. Sosa's waiting next.
I would think that Riedling will not be around to face Sosa if he doesn't get out of the inning here with a ground ball.
Got to figure to be Williamson, righty against righty. Sammy 0 for 10 against him with 6 strikeouts. They're not going to bring in Merker to face Sosa for sure. It's all predicated on what Alex does here with a count of 3 balls and a strike.
A lot of managers will tell you that they become a whole lot smarter when the bullpen gets people out.
Big gap in left center, and there are 2 men on, 1 man out. Bob Boone, another decision, and I think he's going to make it.
The right fielder, number 21, Sammy Sosa.
Well, after Goodwin grounded out, Miller doubled, Harris homered, Grudzielanek singled, Gonzalez walked, and Bob Boone is walking again to the mound. Another pitching change as Riedling staggers. 1/3 of an inning, 2 runs, 3 hits, and a walk. 9-9 is your score. Scott Williamson, we believe, is on his way in. Stoney, when Sammy Sosa is in a groove, he hits homers to right, and when he's in a groove, he hits homers in bunches. He's got a chance to do both tonight. He hit 500 his last time up. 1 here would give the Cubs a 3-run lead.
Scott Sullivan only gave up 1 run, but it was a big one. Sammy hit a line drive rocket to right center field.
That was history. And now the Cubs look to make some themselves as a group. Coming from 7 runs down to tie. They've got the go-ahead run at second with 1 man out here in the 8th. And Sammy facing one of his nemesis in the form of Scott Williamson, the closer for the Reds.
Last year, just 8 saves with a fine .292 ERA. He was used mostly in the middle. And now that he's healthy again, they've got to use him at the end because Danny Graves is a starter, not a closer.
First and second, 1 out for Sammy. And that's a nasty pitch, and he took it for strike 1.
Williamson has a good hard slider. The fastball used to be in the upper 90s. Those days might be gone, but he's still got real good stuff.
What a game. What a way to break in the Great American Ballpark.
They're going to see a lot of games like this here. And when it warms up, it's a scary thought. It might even be livelier than it is tonight.
They had 34 runs combined in 3 games to start the season with the Pirates. They've got 18 tonight. Sosa down, nothing in 2 very quickly. Looking ahead to the Reds' 8th. They'll have LaRue, Lopez, and Larkin coming up. Dave Veers continues to loosen in the pen.
Over the course of Williamson's career, he's averaged more than a strikeout an inning. And to do that in the major leagues, you have to have overpowering stuff.
The man waiting on deck has absolutely creamed him. That's Alou. He's got 3 hits tonight. Moises has been picking everybody up in the middle of that order. He's going to be very important to this team's offensive role. Big leads at first and second. He laid off the breaking ball.
Well, you would think that Williamson would be trying to get Sammy out with the slider. Not only has he thrown him 3 straight, but he's had great luck with him over the course of his career. Outfield straight away and very deep.
Very tired of standing around. A lot of long innings defensively for the Reds.
If Williamson hangs one of those sliders, they can't play deep enough.
One ball, 2 strikes. Big right-hander sets. And he got it by him. 2 outs in the 8th. Here's Alou. 3 for 4 lifetime against Williamson. 3 for 4 tonight.
Take another look. And that one went straight down. Sammy looking at the baseball. He hasn't seen that from Williamson. It's either a change or a split finger, but it disappeared. You see Sammy there making the signal that it was a split finger fastball. I think it surprised him.
Well, let's see what Alou's got in store for us. Mark Rutzelanek at second. Gonzalez still at first. Now they're 2 men out, but a Harris homer has tied the game at 9.
So far,
and they puff the smoke after the strikeout. Alou backs out of the box.
So far, nobody even attempting to chase Rutzelanek back at second base. He's getting a tremendous lead. This infield in Cincinnati, because it's new and because the grass is very thick, it's a very slow infield. Lack of communication between Williamson and LaRue, so he goes out to talk with him.
Cardinals have tied the Astros at 5. Mike Lowell just hit a home run for the Marlins. They now lead 5-2 in their series opener in Atlanta. Here it's 9-9 in the 8th. Alou hitting a robust 500. 8 hits in his first 16 at bats. He scored 3 times. He's knocked in 6 for the Cubs this year. Laid off that. Choi in the box. That's why Merker's getting ready in the Cincinnati pen.
I think that Bob Boone, assuming the inning doesn't end here, would rather have the Williamson Choi than the Merker Karros.
Let's see if it gets to that. Cubs hope it does. Merker looking on from the pen. Missed high. Ball 3.
I would give him the 3-0 green light. Moises, a good enough hitter to understand what he can and can't do at bat, And if Williamson tries to sneak 3/4 speed fastball by him, this might be the best hittable pitch in the sequence.
Wind still howling out toward left. Will they green light him 3-0? We'll never know. It was outside. The bases are loaded. You've got a left-hand power hitter in Choi, who's faced Williamson only once. 2 outs and no place to put him, and Choi, a man with excellent command of the strike zone.
We'll take a look at the 5th inning when Aesop Choi came up and hit a line drive rope out of the ballpark, opposite way. And the only doubt would it be high enough to hit off the top of the wall, and plenty of distance.
Aesop digs in, no place to put him, and he takes a fastball. Anthony is closing in on 10 o'clock here in the East. Cubs hoping the clock will strike midnight for the Reds. A big hit here would put the Cubs in front for the first time tonight. Nothing in 2. Big pitch coming to Aesop Choi here. A come at every base. The 0-2. Nearly hit him. Oh, lean into that one, Aesop.
Easier said than done when a guy's throwing in the mid-90s. We'll watch it again. LaRue wants it inside. This one way inside. Now Grzelcyk has to be well aware of that slider or split finger in the dirt. LaRue's done a great job of blocking everything so far, but this is a hard guy to handle on the mound.
1 ball, 2 strikes now. Almost hit him. Ball gets away and no advance. It popped right in front of the plate. If the home plate umpire Brian Runge picks up the right foot, it's against the backstop, and the Cubs would have the lead.
That was a split finger, and LaRue finally had one get by him. But a bad break for the Cubs. Hits off the umpire's shin guard and bounces right back toward the plate. Good anticipation by Grzelcyk. If the ball caroms anywhere else, he's going to score the go-ahead run.
And if he had tried to come home there, he'd have been toast. Aesop's battle back to a 2-2 count again. Has a real good idea of the strike zone. He'll need it again here. Crowd roaring with a 2-2 count. All 3. So everybody will start moving here with 2 outs.
Well, you have to believe that he's going to come inside the Choi, as we've got Grzelcyk, Gonzalez, and Moises Alou. Off with the pitch.
Three and 2 your count. 9-9 in the 8th.
And can a young hitter in the early part of his career show enough patience to lay off if it's out of the strike zone?
We'll find out. Runners lead. There they go. Good rip. I don't know who this guy's coach was in South Korea, but he taught him how to play the game right.
I think with the great Little League system there, they're well schooled in the fundamentals of the game. And for a young hitter, he's got a real good idea about what they're trying to do to him. I watched him in the Arizona Fall League. You could tell then that he was going to be a good one.
Again, the 3-2 pitch with the runners on the move. Got it. Tipped and caught by LaRue. Cubs come back to tie it in the 8th. We go to the bottom half. What a ball game. 9-9 your score. Lenny Harris back in Cincinnati. Punishes the Reds with a game-tying 2-run homer. We go to the bottom half of the frame. LaRue, Lopez, and Larkin are coming up. Before we tell you who the new Cub pitcher is, let's first pause for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN-TV, Chicago's WB.
Don't forget, the WGN News follows our thriller in Cincinnati tonight. Dave Veers comes on to work the 8th inning for the Cubs. LaRue, the switch hitter, Lopez, and Larkin, right-handed bats with Boone. Ideally for the Cubs, Veers has an easy time of it. The Cubs get a run in the ninth. Then you bring on a lefty to close the game out in the bottom half. Let's see if it works out that way.
Veers coming off a pretty tough outing yesterday where he pitched an inning, gave up a couple of runs on 3 hits. And that's why Dusty, with a veteran, wants to bring him right back.
Not a good way to start. LaRue hit by a pitch, and there's the potential go-ahead run for Cincinnati. If you're Boone, do you bunt?
If I'm Boone, I do bunt. They've got the right man in the game as far as the Reds are concerned with Williamson, and that's the go-ahead run.
Well, let's see if Lopez can get it down here. Harris guarding the line at third, thinks he will bunt. Choi holds the man at first. 1 ball, no strikes. There's the bunt, but it's foul and out of play.
That wasn't real good technique on the part of Lopez. He dropped the head of the bat. When you do that, you're going to pop the ball up, and you certainly don't want to bunt it at third baseman Lenny Harris. Watch the head of the bat drop. When you drop the head of the bat, the ball has to go straight up. I think that's probably what Tim Foley was telling him. Foley, a very good handler of the bat in his days as a major league player. Probably didn't like the technique there.
1 ball, 1 strike. 9-9 in the 8th. He gets the bunt down. Veers thinks about second, makes the sure play to first. Sacrifice. 1-4. Now Larkin, who's had a big day at the plate, with a hit could put the Reds in front by a run.
Whatever Tim Foley told Lopez, he got it right this time. Put it in a good spot. Made sure that Dave Veers had to go to first with it. And red-hot Barry Larkin steps in.
And he's red-hot against Dave. 6 for 10 lifetime. Very dangerous confrontation here.
Well, you've got Lenny Harris playing Barry Larkin as a dead pull hitter. He's over by the line at third, thinking that Larkin's going to pull it. But in RBI situation, Larkin has always looked to right and right center field.
It's pick your poison, too, if you pitch around Larkin and take your chances with Boone. He also very good against Veers' lifetime. He's 3 for 5. So no easy outs in this 8th inning. And it all's keyed by the hit batsman. Veers plunked LaRue. 2 balls, no strikes. 1 out, and that one good enough.
Mark Guthrie loosening up in the Cub pen. And you would think he would be loosening up if this inning stays alive to Ken Griffey Jr.
All 3-1. If you lose Larkin, get Boone to hit the ball on the ground, you might turn 2 and look to the 9th. And now they call a balk on Veers. Did he put his hand to his mouth on the mound?
Let's take another look at it. The only thing I think, no hesitation.
That might be it.
Now it forces the infield in at all 4 positions.
Never something you like to see with Larkin in the box. So no pitch. Count back to 2 balls and a strike. Fly ball could score LaRue. Fastball missed. Again a 3-1 count now.
Bruce Streckman, I believe, said that he didn't give the 1-second pause. That's a call you don't see made against veterans too often, and there he shows you.
Hot shot, Reds lead. Larkin does it again. His 3rd hit of the game gives Cincinnati a 10-9 lead.
Barry Larkin gets a fastball to his liking and drives it through the left side.
Even if Harris is off the line, he's not getting that ball. It was really sharply hit. So Larkin needs 1 RBI for 900 now. Number 899 gives Cincinnati a 1-run lead. So looking ahead to the 9th, Patterson, a pinch hitter, and Miller are due for the Cubs. Will Williamson have enough in his tank to close it out?
Well, I figured it would come down with the Cubs trying to win it with the Williamson-O'Leary matchup. And I think that's how Dusty viewed it.
Troy's never seen it.
The question will be, will Corey get on? And can Dave Veers hold it right here at a 1-run deficit?
One ball, no strikes. Dave really fighting it. That split finger not finding the zone. 2 bad outings in a row for him. Tough day in New York yesterday. Junior waiting next. Ground ball right at somebody would be just what the doctor ordered. Let's worry about Griffey in the bottom of the 9th, perhaps. One danced. 2-1.
That was the best split finger he's shown in 2 days. Keep your eye closely on Barry Larkin at first base. This is when he likes to run.
Runner goes high, fly ball straight away left, not deep enough. Easy play from O. Back to first goes Larkin, and here is Junior Dusty Baker on the 4th step, 3rd step, 1st step. Here comes Guthrie.
Well, you had to be happy that Boone swung at that pitch because Larkin had a tremendous jump at first, and it looks to me like this one has Mark Guthrie written all over it.
You are good. Dave Veers hits the first batter he sees. That proves to be the go-ahead run for the Reds. Guthrie versus Griffey. A battle of the G's for the W tonight. Wondering how one of those split fingers got away from him as he plunked Jason LaRue. He comes around on a Larkin hit with 1 out to give Cincinnati a 10-9 lead. Now a lefty-lefty matchup. One that, if you go by the books, you think, all right, advantage Mark Guthrie. Not necessarily so with Ken Griffey Jr., however.
Well, it's a good news, bad news, because Guthrie gets Junior out every other time. But that means that he's hitting .458 against him lifetime with a couple of home runs and 11 hits.
Yeah, but most of that had to be in the American League.
Well, this has to be the other time.
Yeah, exactly. 10-9. Griffey 1 for 3 this evening. thought he hit a home run his first time, and he hits a rocket right center field. Will Corey get there? He will. If he hits it any place else but Cincinnati, he might have had a 2-run homer. Cubs need one to tie again in a thriller in Cincinnati. Been a great game for the Cubs. They were down by 7, battled back to tie it. Do they have one more rally in their quiver offensively? We head to the 9th inning. Corey Patterson, Troy O'Leary, and then Damian Miller's spot is due against Scott Williamson.
Might not be a bad idea to lay one down here. With that in mind, Casey has now moved in a little closer at first, but he's still back far enough to get the bunt down.
He showed a bunt, took a strike. Patterson tonight 1 for 4 with a run scored. Sosa hit number 500 with 1 out in the 7th. Hee-Sop Choi hit a 3-run shot to cut the Red lead to 2. Lenny Harris in the 8th hit a 2-run homer to tie it at 9 tonight. It's been an uphill battle all evening long, but the Cub offense, maligned most of spring training, has come out pounding on the first 70-degree night of the season.
And Corey Patterson has hit the ball pretty hard tonight. Hit a line drive rocket last time up in the 7th inning, and he has a base hit.
A ball and a strike to the Cubs center fielder. Swing and a high pop into shallow right. Kearns broke back, now comes charging in. Wynn trying to push it toward the seats. And did he come up? Yes, he did. Right against the railing. Kearns denies Patterson. 1 out.
Austin Kearns has shown off every facet of his game tonight. He makes a tremendous catch here. The fans were trying to reach into the field of play and distract him, but he kept his concentration and made a real good play. And now Troy O'Leary comes up, try to do some damage to Scott Williamson.
O'Leary, the 3rd of 4 left-handed bats off the bench for the Cubs tonight. He's never faced Williamson in the major leagues. And he looks at a ball outside. Damian Miller with 2 hits waits on deck. If it gets past him, you've got Harris lurking in the hole for Dusty Baker. Cubs will take a walk. We've seen already, Stoney. Lots of teams come back in the 9th inning when hope seemed lost.
Well, this is where, if you're a guy who can hit home runs, this is where you think about trying to hit one.
2 balls, no strikes.
Pretty good fastball explodes over the outside corner. When you're ahead of the pitcher and he throws a pinpoint pitch, there's no sense getting yourself out on the pitcher's pitch.
The 2-1 from the Reds closer. Popped into left. Reggie Taylor on the run near the seats. And O'Leary has better luck than Corey Patterson. Dusty Baker probably on his 9th toothpick of the night tonight. The way the Cubs came roaring back.
He's seen a lot of offense tonight. And he'd like to see a little bit more.
And 0 for a little defense in the middle innings for the Cubs. That would have turned things around considerably tonight. O'Leary chased a high fastball. Williamson has his 3rd strikeout. He's 1 out away from his first save.
Williamson goes up and out of the strike zone. Troy O'Leary cannot lay off this one.
Actually, Williamson is on the line for the win for Cincinnati tonight. No save. Here's Miller. Every time they strike somebody out, the smoke comes out of the riverboat smokestacks in right center field, and the next hitter asks for and receives time. that does not speed up the game. Reds 1 out away from their first win in their new home. Chopped up the middle. Larkin. Funny hop. Fumbled for a minute, but he got his man. And the Cincinnati Reds are off the schneid. Cubs gave them all they could handle tonight. And the Reds win it by a final score of 10-9. An historic opener indeed for the Cubs in this new Reds home.
Scott Williamson did a great job out of the bullpen. A bullpen that has had its problems. But Williamson at the end was equal to the task. And in a very exciting game. Unfortunately for the Cubs, they come up a run short. But they were down 7 in this one and battled back to tie it at 9. Only to see a game turned around on a hit batsman leading off an inning.
So Williamson beats Fears. The Reds 1-3 on the year. The Cubs fall to 2-2. But it was a whale of an offensive ball game, and we figure more of that's going to come over the weekend. We hope to have Sammy Sosa when we return. He'll chat about his milestone tonight when we return. (10-9) Cincinnati finally picks up their first win of the season. They now move to 1-3 on the year. The Cubs see their record drop to 2-2 on their season opening 6-game road trip. It's amazing, Steve. The Reds scored just 10 times in their first 3 games of the year against the Pirates. They scored 10 tonight, and all the scouting reports about this ballpark proved to be true, as the baseball was a fly-in in Cincinnati tonight. 6 home runs were hit by these two teams this evening.
Well, Sean Estes didn't have his good stuff tonight. However, he did give up of a total of 8 runs, 4 unearned runs. And when you do that, when you give good offensive teams 4 and 5 outs in an inning, usually it's going to come back to burn you. The Reds maybe had a lot of bad breaks against Pittsburgh, but tonight they got some good breaks. A ball hit off the leg of Brian Runge. It would have scored a run for the Cubs. Instead, it rolled in front of home plate. A great carom off the back wall that Danny Graves threw out Mark Bellhorn at third. You'll never see a carom like that probably in his ballpark again. And one of these nights when the offense was there, but the pitching and defense wasn't.
When you look at the standings, it says games won, games lost. It doesn't say games tried hard. However, the Cubs, it would have been very easy for them down 7 runs in this game just to say, all right, it's not our night tonight. But they came charging back, tied this thing at 9 for Dusty Baker before Dave Veer's difficulties in that bottom of the 8th inning. Different team, different attitude, different personnel, and we're going to see a lot of different results for this Cub team, I would figure.
There's not going to be many games when this pitching staff gives up 10 runs.
But tonight, unfortunately, was one of those nights. Cincinnati wins it 10-9. And on a night when the offense shined, one man shone brightest, and that, of course, was Sammy Sosa. His historic home run is this evening's Budweiser play of the game. It took place in the top of the 7th inning against Scott Sullivan. He's homered against him 3 consecutive times, but this was the biggest of Sosa's career. His ticket to Cooperstown, you figure, 18th man in history with 500 career home runs, and a curtain call for the big crowd in Cincinnati. Sammy Sosa celebrates tonight. Cubs don't, however. They fall 10-9. One more break. Back with more from Great American Ballpark after this. Brady, he's downstairs waiting for Sammy Sosa to compose himself and get ready for what we hope will be a post-game interview with our nationwide audience here on WGN. There is a cool-down period of 10 minutes or so, and we understand that Sharon Panazzo and Mark Brady are trying to get Sammy from the locker room back to our microphone position. So we hope that you all, hoping to hear from Sammy, will hang on while we wait with you. In fact, he's on his way out of the dugout now. Before we get to Sammy and his comments, Tony, this is a great way to start this series, and Cubs will have Zambrano and Wood against Haynes and Wilson the next 2 afternoons here.
And there's the man of the moment, Sammy Sosa, who finally got a fastball to his liking and drove it out of the ballpark.
So Ernie Banks, look out, Sammy's gaining on you. He's 12 behind. And tied, of course, with Eddie Matthews is Ernie Banks. And standing by downstairs is Sammy Sosa. And my friend, congratulations. I know you've been waiting a long off season for this moment tonight in Cincinnati. Sammy Sosa, you're on your way to Cooperstown with number 500. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Tell us about the pitch. Tell us what went through your mind when you made contact.
Well, you know, gotta give it credit to Grace. He was pitching a great game. He threw me some good pitches. That one. Okay, can you hear me?
There you go, much better.
Yeah, so, you know, and then I was, you know, pulling out just a little bit, and I said to myself, I got to be relaxed a little bit, and I got to go out there and make contact and go to right field. So they got me 2 strikes. He threw me a very tough pitch outside corner, and, you know, and I went with the ball.
Sammy, from what you've seen of this ballpark, and obviously you've only seen it one day, you think this is going to be the type of hitter's park it was tonight?
No question about it. If you can see tonight, you know, the ball was jumping tonight. It's been like that, you know, and you know, it's, the hitter here gonna have a great time. I really, I can say that, and you know, the show that everybody put today was unbelievable. So you know, hopefully, and we play great game on top of that. So hopefully, we can come back tomorrow and then win.
Sammy, obviously, there are only 2 Cubs now that have hit 500 home runs. I know Mr. Cub Ernie Banks is probably somewhere watching this ball game tonight. Anything you'd like to say to him as you've joined a very exclusive Cub club?
Oh, no question. Just you know, thank God that I give me an opportunity to you know, hit number 500 today, so that way I can come back and play, you know, my game. I want to say to Ernie Banks that you know, I know he's not here, but you know, he's watching. And I feel great about it to be in the 500 club, and hopefully, you know, I cannot stop from now on. Just got to keep it continuing.
Sammy, I know that you wanted to hit it in New York, in front of a lot of your friends, and you brought your family here to Cincinnati. Did you feel any more pressure? We're only 4 games into the season. You know you're going to get it, but was it weighing on you at all?
Well, you know, in New York, they don't give me nothing to hit. I had to say that, and you know, sometimes, you know, when everybody wants you to hit a home run every at bat, you know, sometimes, you know, it can get you a little bit if you don't have a plan to go to the play. So I was trying to stay away from that and stick with my plan. So I got it all way. You know, today I was the only day that I can't, you know, that I went a little bit out of the strike zone and swing a little bad pitches, but you know, I just want to, you know, to get over with it.
Sammy, this was an amazing comeback by the Cubs. I don't think in seasons past a team down 7-0 on the road would have come back the way you guys did. That says an awful lot about your performance, your team's performance, and the impact that Dusty Baker has had on this team, doesn't it?
No question. We played with a lot of heart today. We never give up. You know, we have a great manager. We have a, you know, great bunch of group of people here, and I mean, even the bench, you know, came through today. So Laney hit a, you know, big home run there. So, you know, we in top of our game. That was the game today that we had to say that we fight. You know, we battle everything, and you know, I wish if we would have been today, but you know, we can say that we play hard.
You did indeed, and congratulations. We're going to show you on the monitor downstairs a videotape replay of your 500 home run. I'm sure there are many, many more to follow. And as always, Sammy, thanks for the wonderful memories. Keep it going. It was a great game tonight, all but the outcome. And we'll see if you can do it again against Cincinnati tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
All right, Sammy. Sammy Sosa, 500 home runs. Again, our thanks to him. Sammy's family delighted. Thanks to Mark Brady and Sharon Panazzo for helping us get Sammy tonight. And Stoney, the more you see him, the more you appreciate him. Just what an unbelievable sports icon he is, not just for Chicago, but for the baseball and professional sporting world.
And it's only fitting that it went to right center field, because that's how Sammy became a guy who can hit 300 as well as hit the ball out of the ballpark. He's become a multi-dimensional player and a guy that's a tough out anytime. But Chip, you have to applaud the fact that he still had patience. He was still getting on base, getting his hits. And 500 came the 4th game of the season.
Well, they had many a milestone in the old ballpark. Tonight, the Great American Ballpark saw its first. Sammy Sosa's 500. Who knows, maybe 501 and more will come tomorrow, or perhaps Sunday, our next WGN telecast. Kerry Wood will face Paul Wilson Our airtime, high noon, Central Time. Reds win a thriller, a slugfest. The Great American Hitters Ballpark, indeed, as the Cubs fall to the Reds, their first ever win in the new ballpark. 10-9, Williamson over Veers, no save. Baseball again tomorrow with Carlos Zambrano against Jimmy Haynes. For Steve Stone and our entire crew, thanks so much for joining us. Chip Carey from Cincinnati inviting you to stay tuned. The award-winning WGN News is coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow. So long, everybody.
Chicago Cubs baseball, brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. Comcast Cable and High-Speed Internet, proud sponsor of Chicago Cubs baseball. Dodge, you can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. The Illinois Lottery, where players have more fun. Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Chicago Cubs. And by Southwest Airlines, more than 2,700 nonstop daily flights to 59 destinations all across the country.